Welcome in to Check the Mic. Steve Palazzolo, Sam Monson, live on YouTube from the Antonio Cromartie studio and partnered with Huggies. All presented by FanDuel. We're back, Sam, on a Wednesday.
We are.
The Wednesday update is back. Took a little hiatus last week. Thanksgiving. We had to preview all the games. But it's my favorite show of the week because we just get to ramble for as long as we want.
Beautiful.
Shouty Shows coming up. We've got Contenders and Pretenders.
Because we're really restricted in the other 3-hour shows.
I know. I feel a little constrained because it's like, oh, we got to talk Saints Dolphins. You know, get your time in. Now it's like just freedom.
Whatever you want to talk about.
Freedom on a Wednesday. So we've got Shouty Shows coming up. We get the Bugler. We get the Wednesday update.
God, I keep forgetting to bring in the hat.
We'll get the hat coming up soon, someday. Maybe an elf hat in your future as well.
Great.
Talk about that in a minute. And Contenders and Pretenders. I have a feel. I've said this. I can't remember how much. I speak a lot. I say a lot of things during the week. I don't remember what I said on the show, on the instant reaction the other night. I feel like it's going to be a week of trying to unpack who's actually good, right? All the good teams have flaws. And people are going to focus on the flaws. Do you really trust the Broncos? Do you really trust the Patriots with their schedule? The Chiefs are 6-6. The Eagles are falling apart. Do you really trust the Bears? We're gonna unpack all that. Who's good? Who's not?
Nobody or everybody, depending on how you want to view it. Glass half full or empty kind of guy.
I mean, because you have teams like the Patriots and Broncos fighting for the number one seed, the Bears currently the number one seed. I think the narrative is going to be, is anybody good this year? Because it's different teams.
It's just because it's unexpected teams.
It's unexpected.
And the Patriot schedule thing is going to be, it's like you're looking at something through through water or whatever. It's like, is it really there, or is this just a reflection? Is this that's what the Patriots are. It's like, are they actually this good, or are they just stomping bad teams?
So we got to go through that. We'll go team by team. We also have a couple other announcements here. We've got a special addition to our Wednesday shows for our members.
Okay.
We're just going to stick around an extra 10 to 15 minutes, a little Q&A for members. So the whole show remains free on a Wednesday, as always.
Yep.
But we'll have an extra 10 to 15 minutes.
Tanked
It'll cut off. Yeah, just right at the end, members only. So if you're a member, if you signed up, or if you want to sign up, get that green name in the chat. We'll hang out after a little Q&A, do a little mug check, bring back mug check.
I don't have a mug today.
Cup check.
I realized in the car I'd forgotten my travel thermos deal, so I just had to get the cup.
The other thing we're going to be doing here, we've done a lot of charity drives through our years together.
Literally today came up on my memories thing, the evolution of my mustache last year, where we went, like, we did a reverse Movember, where we shaved down the beard to I would say sequentially more and more ridiculous, but they kind of weren't. They were just ridiculous in a different way every single time. Different series of ridiculous facial hairs.
Last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. You went from beard
to raise
to
whatever it was, $900 or something.
Yeah, that was great. So we're gonna do this again. I've mentioned on the show before, I'm connected to a place called Heritage House here in Cincinnati. It's a men's recovery home, and we want to raise up to $2,000 for Heritage House. So it's already on there. We got a GoFundMe. It's already in the description of the YouTube channel. I'll be tweeting it out and putting it out there. So we're trying to do this during the Christmas season. Men's recovery home. We're trying to help them with a little bit more of a Christmas celebration and some gifts and a nice dinner. These are guys that come off the street, mostly in Cincinnati, but really all over Ohio, all over the nation, and have a 10-month recovery program that I'm connected with. And I offered up to, if we get the viewers get to 2,000, I suggested, since I have that elf costume, we could throw on the elf costume and, for me, run up to Kenwood Mall. And I'm asking you if you want to play dress up as well.
I like Mohal's suggestion, which is how much for you to eat the elf spaghetti. The M&M's, chocolate syrup, maple syrup, Pop-Tarts, marshmallows all mashed into a bowl of spaghetti. I like that for a couple of reasons. Number one, because it's funny. Number two, because I don't need to get into an elf costume then.
I would consider it. I mean, if we could get
part
close to the 2,000.
Part of me wonders if that would actually taste okay.
I mean, there's enough curiosity. Like, if there's other things I would immediately say no.
Yeah.
I haven't immediately said no to that.
I mean,
I'll have to rewatch the movie, see what's in there.
There's also a lot of things that, in terms of an eating challenge, there's a lot of things that I would just be like, no, I'm not eating that. I'd try that. I would. I'm sure it wouldn't be great, but there's nothing in there that I'd be like, no, not a chance.
Yikes. So anyway.
You will probably fall ill, but,
Yeah, it'd probably be terrible. It's not good for my weight gain either.
I don't think you'd have to eat the whole thing,
just taste it.
Like a whole bowl of it. That would be pretty rough.
A little bit of syrup, a little bit of grab an M&M in there, Yeah. But I was suggesting Kenwood Mall, nice high-class mall. And I'm thinking sometime around Christmas time, if we can get there in the next couple weeks, the $2,000 goal. It's already at 300, by the way. I sent it out to some friends last night. As soon as I started it, we already have 300. Nice. So we're on our way. But if we get to the 2,000 or more, go to Kenwood Mall, and I want you to join me. We'll get some footage. We'll have Will come down and film that whole thing.
Nice.
See the reaction to a life-size elf walking around Kenwood Mall.
I sent Will the sequence of facial hair things, the picture, if he can get up on the screen. Yeah,
this is what we did last year for
we'll
November. See. I merely just grew a mustache.
You did, like a regular one,
like Mike Vrabel.
Right. Well, that's no fun.
So I didn't raise as much money as you.
Vrabel was desperate to get his shaved off the second November finished.
In the middle of a winning streak too. You don't see that often.
That's true.
Right? You don't see you rattle off 10 straight and it's like, man, I got to shave this mustache. Usually got to roll with it.
Yeah.
Until you lose.
And he was like, no, the second this is out.
Braves doesn't care. Anyways, we're getting that picture up. Check out the link in the description. I'll be tweeting it out and hoping to get to 2,000 to support Heritage House over here in Cincinnati. Are we still waiting on that?
Yeah, but I think it'll come up at some point. Let's move on.
So I'm excited. Last week, by the way, just quick recap. Hornets won last week.
Hornets
49-0.
Oh,
I was getting updates.
There we go.
This was last week. I'll get that update.
Yeah.
The Movember evolution last week. If you're just listening in audio land, it's Sam's mustache changes every few days in November last year.
The thing that
and then you threw on the wig at the end with the
that was the Palazzolo. Yeah, the full Palazzolo.
Yeah.
The thing that always struck me about particularly the first few of those facial hair iterations is how kind of disturbingly they worked. Like those. There are people that if they tried to rock one of those Fu Manchu, no, that's not a Fu Manchu. The full like handlebar Hulk Hogan deals and the biker, like the one in the middle is like is that a Rick Steiner, which Steiner brother is that one?
Rick had the
Rick Steiner. We've got like a Hulk Hogan on the right. I don't know what the left thing is. Some kind of old Middle England mutton chops deal.
Yeah.
But there are people, if they tried to pull off one of those things, it would be horrendous, like unbelievably terrible. These weirdly work.
Oh, like you pull them all off.
They're not noticeably worse than my regular facial hair, and that's quite disturbing.
It's not. I think you should. This should be more than Movember for you.
Just embrace it as a lifestyle.
I think it should be a monthly change.
There's something. I mean, the middle one, the full Rick Steiner, is definitely like you feel like if you're walking around like that, you need to be on a Harley or something. You can't just
true.
You can't just go about life.
I think at least 3 or 4 of those you could pull off. Like November 20th and 21st, you could all year round. I think you got that. I think you got those.
Yeah. I don't know. The full, like just the regular mustache thing, I didn't. The less facial hair involved, the worse I thought they played. But the early ones were disturbingly.
The 13th was solid. It was a good start. You were like, "This is so good. How do I make this better?" I remember that. Yeah. We're halfway through the month. How do we even make this better?
That was tough. All right, it's a difficult starting point.
All right. Anyway, North Reading won 49-0. I was getting live updates.
Queensbury rules boxer. That's exactly what it is. That's the starting point.
Oh, I see. Yeah. It's you guys are across the pond. All right. Are we ready?
Yeah.
We missed Shouty Shows last week. We mixed them in. To the
kind of, yeah.
To the Wednesday show, but full Shouty Shows. Let's go. Let's do it.
I've thought about it very deeply.
I liked how he started it with, "I've thought about this long and hard."
I trust the backup quarterback more than I do Dak.
This is why Skip Bayless is the master of the Shouty Show segment.
I can't do it anymore. It is year 6.
It's just a never-ending arms race of idiocy between loud, obnoxious people. We are the antidote to that.
All right, we've got 5 on the list here.
5.
And I like when they're in our document, they're in our notes doc, but they're blacked out. We don't know exactly what's happening. We get the basic topic though. It's starting with a flip-flop on the Dallas Cowboys.
The Cowboys will make the playoffs, believe it or not. Believe
Yeah!
it! Whoa! I gave them a 0% chance. 0. And since the trade that this team is on, they're the scariest team in the NFL right now.
We are officially December 1st marks a lot. It's December, Christmas season. It's like a line in the sand for a lot of different things. It's also it's like the line of demarcation where there is going to be a new team every week who is the scariest team in the league or the team that you don't want to play in the playoffs.
You don't want to see them in the playoffs.
You don't want to see them in the playoffs. That's what we need. Instead of a graveyard, we need a running tally of the teams who have been declared. You don't want to see the Texans in the play. The way the Texans defense is now, if they lose at Kansas City, it won't be the Texans anymore.
Right.
But right now,
in theory, I think
Cowboys.
In theory, that's a good suggestion. In practice, that would mean changing what's on the chalkboard
No, I get it.
every week, and that's quite tricky given
room.
that apparently the paint doesn't work that well.
There's no room, but we need
No, not room. It's that it
just doesn't
rub off.
Yeah.
So like that, it's turned into more of a permanent chalkboard than it is a practical chalkboard.
Not
but anyway,
really a chalkboard.
No. Well, so the Cowboys thing is interesting because they still only have like a 20% chance-ish of making the playoffs, but that jumps to like 40% if they beat the Lions this week.
There is massive playoff leverage. Oh, I forgot to make that announcement as well. We're doing member watch-along as well for that game. We figured that game is so big. We'll do another watch-along Thursday night for members during Lions and Cowboys. There is massive playoff leverage. We'll break that all down on the preview show tomorrow. But yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with Jeff that Dallas is coming together defensively. They still weren't great against
I also, by
Kansas
the way,
City.
I don't have a problem with this particular type of this is more of a mea culpa than a full sort of flip-flop of idiocy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's not a flip-flop.
I had written off this
new
team.
information.
Right, and now things have changed. They do now look very changed. We talked about all the additions on defense, whether it's trade, whether it's guys getting healthy, whether it's whatever. They are a different football team right now, and therefore expectations should be changing. So, okay, those are extremes, and this is the folly of the Shouty Show format, right? 0% versus whatever you're saying now. That's maybe your issue here, is that you're literally having to go, okay, I said there was literally no chance at all, and now I think they're like the scariest team in the NFL. Maybe as you're articulating that live, you should be thinking to yourself, maybe if I dial back the extremes, then, these wouldn't be mutually exclusive, Maybe if I simply said there's a small chance of this happening now, and then now there's another small chance on the other end of the spectrum, we would be okay, as opposed to 0 and 100. But generally, I don't have a problem with, I was wrong here.
Analytics guru Jeff Saturday putting percentages on things.
0%.
Former NFL coach Jeff Saturday. It is hard to believe that just 2 years ago.
God, imagine that was a thing that happened.
Just 2 years ago.
Jeff Saturday was an NFL coach for real. Not a joke.
And then came in and blew a 33-point lead.
At least not a joke that anybody has admitted to openly.
Jim Irsay, rest in peace. But yeah, that was just 2 years ago. The Colts needed to shake things up mid-season.
I wonder if that's what started, what's her name, the new owner? I wonder if that's what put her on the headset. The Jeff Saturday debacle.
Got to know what these guys are saying.
I'm going to have to start putting on the headset to find out what the hell is happening here.
It's been all downhill since we hired the high school coach / former center. Oh, man.
That's one of those things that that's going to just pass into history as a thing that happened, and we won't really talk about it again. That's one of the craziest things that's ever happened in the NFL. Jeff Saturday, just because he'd met, he'd spent 10 years of his life with Peyton Manning's hands up his ass. Jeff Saturday got handed the Indianapolis Colts head coaching job. And somebody somewhere thought that was a good plan.
Oh, you're an absolute wordsmith. Cannot top that. We got something on the Browns coaching staff. Oh, boy.
I hope that the Browns coaches sealed their fate yesterday. It's 10-8.
Rizzo.
10-8 in the third quarter. 4th and 1, your own 33. You're going to go for it and have your tight end get the penalty fumbles? Get the folks, I'm going to tell you something right now. I know owners of sports teams that would have fired these people on the spot yesterday. Enough of this. You got to be out of your mind to watch this garbage. The Browns are garbage.
All right. Here's the thing. Number one, what is your problem exactly with that situation? Like 4th and 1, your own 33, you're down against the team, you got nothing to lose. Like, why would you not be going for that? Like, it's sort of standard go for it situation.
Because it didn't work.
Yeah, right.
And because Harold Fannin.
Now, okay, your criticism there would be you give it to the tight end who fumbles the ball. If you want to criticize the coaches, you're like, have you not drilled this enough that Harold Fannin should be able to take a snap from the center? And maybe they have, and they just sometimes players make mistakes. I find it pretty hard to find an area of that particular dynamic where you're like, this is a Stefanski fault.
I doubt that Tony Rizzo is familiar with the other 31 teams all that much. I mean, our usual answer to that is this is not unique to Cleveland that they're putting their tight end under center. Connor Hayward's
Nor is
doing
it unique to Cleveland that didn't work out well. Like a bunch of teams, even just this week, screwed that up.
But like the Seahawks, well-coached team, A.J. Barner does this all the time for them.
I mean, the Chiefs spent the last half a decade
doing it
trying
with
to
Kelsey,
avoid putting Patrick Mahomes under center.
So a lot of good teams put their tight end under center. And Tyler Warren dropped one the other day as well, also on 4th down.
The general point about Cleveland, right? It's like, oh, same old Browns. This is a disaster. This is all bad. This is basically exactly the way I said the entire season was going to unfold, almost down to the weeks that the quarterbacks were going to change before the season started. It is going to plan. It's just that the plan involves a bad season. Like, this is the thing. You can, but you have to factor in what were their expectations and hopes heading into this year. And they were probably, for this team, not to be particularly good, for us to get a look at all the quarterbacks and to head into next year's draft well-positioned to get the real starter, right? Yeah. If that is the plan, it's pretty hard to be calling for people's jobs because the plan has been executed. Like, it's all going according to plan. It's just that you don't like the plan.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel for Browns radio media, right? I mean, just they got to react every Monday morning to what happened on Sunday.
Yeah, I don't feel for them at all. This is like the Browns are one of the top 3 teams in the NFL in terms of content for radio people.
They just have to, they got to be mad about something.
Well,
you got to be mad when you lose. You got to blame somebody when you lose. You can't take this high-level approach like you and I have said. You're like, Browns going to plan here. They've got 3 wins. That's expected. They've been in the graveyard since
but the point about being
March of 22.
Yeah.
22 is what we put them in.
But the point about being a Shouty Show exponent is that you don't care about, rationality. Like the Browns are the gift that keeps on giving. No matter what they do, it works out badly, so you get to rant about it.
True. So, yeah, we get another Browns take, and we just come back with the usual, they're bad as expected.
I mean, it's a dumb take, but it's a dumb show, so,
Wow. So that's it. I guess we're moving on from the Browns take. We're on to the Broncos.
The reason I have so much confidence in Bo Nix is who else you finna believe in? I'm not going to believe in Aaron Rodgers and his decrepit self. I'm not going to believe in Daniel Jones. The Kansas City Chiefs, when they stopped the run game, stopped the hell out of him, along with the Houston Texans this week. You can't believe in C.J. Stroud. He's constantly hurt. I believe in Patrick Mahomes, but I can't believe in Patrick Mahomes' weapons. Justin Herbert, he just fractured his wrist. Who else can you believe in? If not the Broncos, who else can you believe in? Shout out to Josh Allen, but you saw what happened when the Texans played the Bills and Josh Allen didn't have any weapons to throw to. Who else can you believe in if you can't believe in the Denver Broncos? You have to have faith in somebody in the AFC. I would rather put my faith in Sean Payton, a Super Bowl winning head coach, put my faith in a top 3 defense in the Denver Broncos, and put my faith in a mobile quarterback when you need mobile quarterbacks to win in this day and age. If you can't believe in the Broncos, you can't believe in anybody in the AFC. It really comes down to that. It really comes down to that, Jay.
His decrepit self.
Acho, a Bo Lever.
I think Acho antagonizes me and aggravates me more than any other Shouty Show person because he's capable of so much more. I think what really pisses me off about Acho is he should be really good. because he's articulate. He's really good at actually, he's a good orator. He should be one of the better analysts on TV, and he's decided to go the pathway of
Chose the other
he's
way.
decided to use his gifts for evil instead of good.
Yeah.
He has seen what Stephen A. Smith has got, and he's like, Lord Jesus, I want that for me.
Yeah.
I want to be the new Stephen A. Smith. I'm going to go to the dark side. And I hate that. I think because the first time I saw Acho was him doing Dano style breakdowns on his TV with a little iPad, and he's good at that. And again, he's articulate. He can construct an argument. He can deliver a point. And it's like, dude, you could be a really, really good TV analyst, and instead you've just chosen the pathway of idiocy and performance, and it's very frustrating. I mean, as for the point he's making, sure, like take your pick of any AFC team,
Which we're going to do
right
at the end of the show and say who do we believe in, which is fine point as far as the Knicks thing. Each one of these guys I think has a take that really stood out to me through the years. I always reference the Skip Bayless one from way back in 2007 when he said Jay Cutler. He said, I got to say it again. The question, Skip, who do you trust more in the year 2007, Tom Brady or Peyton Manning? Good question.
like
And he
Tebow.
says neither.
Yeah.
Jay Cutler and Vince Young.
Was Jay
because
Cutler
they're more clutch. This was before Skip. By the way, Vince Young he had a lot of those like fourth quarter comebacks early in his career. Cutler was with the Broncos.
Yeah.
At that time, and this was pre-Skip being a Brady guy.
Right.
And this is part of his ascent. Your ascent is
Yeah.
Brady, Manning, pick one. He's like, no, give me QB 20.
Yeah.
Nah, give me Vince.
Who do you think?
Remember the Rose Bowl?
Right. Who do you think the first, like, Shouty Show, not target, but like hobby horse would have been? Because Cutler was definitely one, where there were always a bunch of people who were like, Jay Cutler is like a secret genius. You guys just haven't seen it yet.
Tebow was the biggest.
Tebow, obviously the biggest one, but he wouldn't have been the first. Vince Young was definitely one. Like, who would have been the first one of those guys where the Shouty Show lunatics are like, this guy is for real. Like, you guys, you're just not seeing it.
It had to be in the 05, 06 range.
Just because of the
This
media
whole
landscape.
this whole genre.
Right.
I mean, if we need the oral history of this entire thing, maybe Nick Wright could help us unpack that. Because the early 2000s, when you and I were in college, that's when like the PTIs came out and what's the one with the score around the horn.
Yeah.
And it just and that was like the next level. I don't know if you remember the types of shows like they'd have like the sports reporters or something. So they used to have shows on like a Sunday morning where they'd get Mike Lupica or whatever and they'd be smoking cigars and be like, all right, news reporters, give us your opinions on all the stories in the sports, right? And to me that was one of the first iterations of not just Shouty Shows but just opinion and arguing TV, right?
Yeah.
And that was like the 90s, late 80s and into the 90s.
There was probably,
But PTI and Around the Horn was this idea of like now the personality matters, right? Wilbon and Kornheiser and all the guests on. Now the personality matters. What's his face from Woody from Denver?
Yeah,
And Woody Page, right? So then the personality started to matter. And then you got into, I always talk about, I know I repeat myself a lot, but in the middle of college, I used to watch Cold Pizza, and then it just all of a sudden Skip Bayless showed up.
Right.
And I went from like this cool little morning show, Today Show type of deal for sports, and all of a sudden they're at a table and this guy's making ridiculous sports points that I don't want to hear. And it just like happened overnight in like 04, 05, whenever that was.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you restrict the genre to the sort of advent of, debate television, then you get sort of locked into that kind of era. I do and before that it would have just been a dumb reporter having a bad opinion. You know what I mean? It's probably not the same thing.
Yeah, and those guys, I mean, that's what they do, and that was part of their shtick, right? They were just like old school, like I'm upset with this. These guys watch their home runs too much, or these guys do that, whatever it was, whatever they were complaining.
We need a 30 for 30 on like the rise of idiot TV.
Yeah, I'm sure ESPN will title it as such.
Maybe not a 30 for 30 then. Maybe whatever the Vice TV or whatever, like a needs to be a competitor because ESPN's probably not signing off on that.
I'll say this, and for fear of sounding like I'm in my 40s, and everybody's always like, "Oh, the good old days."
I embrace it. Now we can be crotchety for real.
Fine.
Like we're in our 40s. Now's the time.
We grew up. What was
things
Sports
were better in our day?
Everything was better. Everything was better. You'd wake up. SportsCenter was on at all times, right? The times in my life that I would watch 7 straight SportsCenters and have no problem with it and catch something new every time. And I didn't care. I'm watching hockey highlights. I'm watching horse racing. I didn't care. In the guys delivering the highlights to me, they were personality driven, but they were awesome, right? This combination of efficiency and humor, and you loved it. And then it morphed into the first real big one on SportsCenter for me was the Brett Favre deal. The Brett Favre retirement watch and that started as early as like 06.
Yeah.
And then in 07, and he's back with the Packers. And then in 08, he goes to the Jets. When they started covering the Brett Favre saga, and then a couple years later, it's the Tebow saga, which is like, and now it's like this is the Shouty, like the Tebowization of media is what's led to the Shouty stuff taking over the draft, right? It started with Tebow and it started with Favre, but Favre was like the tipping point for me in my old age, where SportsCenter was on in the back, and all it was is like, let's go to these people for their Brett Favre opinion. Now let's go to these people for their Brett Favre opinion. Let's go to Ed Werder, who is just following Brett Favre around all summer, and that's his job.
There are many road marks along the way from, decent TV to today's world of 24/7 Stephen A. Smith. Brett Favre and his retirement saga is definitely one of the road marks along the way. Like that, there's a moment somewhere along there where executives realize that, you know what, rather than cover all 32 teams when, a bunch of these teams nobody cares about, actually there's way more money in just spending the entire time talking about Brett Favre. Like actually way more people are interested in that. So to hell with journalistic integrity, let's just talk about Brett Favre all the time. That was definitely a key road marking along this ridiculous pathway.
And look, I think we have to honor and appreciate that because we get to just spew nonsense. Yeah, we get to spew nonsense. I think what happened is it pivoted from the sports fan wants all of the information to the sports fan wants to be informed, or they want to have their opinion. They want to have an opinion, but they're okay if they have it shaped a little bit. So it turned into give the sports fan fodder for like the bar discussion or the water cooler discussion. And that's why I think the opinion stuff came out so that the people at the water cooler could say, Brett Favre, he's got to make a choice. Get rid of him. So that everybody had an opinion. So it went from this broad highlights to now you get to be in your life, you get to have your own real life PTI and you get to have your own debates with people, but you need people nudging you in the direction of which opinions you should grab onto. And that's why I think that's why it caught on. And I'm saying that because I think we take pride in, informing, having fun, having different discussions that other people might have. But I think it's the same premise where I hope the people listen to us have some other new information that maybe they didn't have previously or a different angle that they can then, hear and, listen in a different way.
All right, let's fire up the next one.
I don't know why we just went off on all that stuff. Next one.
But, the old adage, is 10 years you start to smell and all that, and your message gets lost. I don't think that's the case with Mike Tomlin, all right? I just think right now, do Mike Tomlin a favor and fire him. He would get a job anywhere else in the league in 2 seconds. 2 seconds.
Yeah, all right. I mean, that's probably true.
Rex wants Mike Tomlin for him. It's run its course.
That's
in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I mean that's an interesting thought on the thing. Like I think that's probably true. He's one of those coaches that would be an instant retread rehiring.
Hearing this a lot around the league, by the way.
What that he would?
He would.
Like
for a team like when was the last time the Giants had a winning season?
Right. There
7 years ago.
And this is the case with every one of these guys, where it's like they get stale. The team, he's hit a ceiling there. Team wants to move on. Blah blah blah. Good is not good enough. We need great. Blah. But there are teams for whom good would be a miracle. So obviously those guys are huge candidates for teams like that, and that's why they always get again, Mike Shanahan, when he was fired by Denver, is always the one that stands out to me. Mike Shanahan very quickly got another job. Of course he was going to get another job. The guy was a multiple-time Super Bowl champion, and his teams were always good, if not great. So I think that part is definitely true. The question becomes, though, is that actually a good thing for Mike Tomlin? Like, part of the draw of a job like Pittsburgh is they're never going to fire the head coach. They've had 3 of them since the 60s or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like, they have this absurd run, but they just never fire anybody. So from a personal Mike Tomlin standpoint, it's probably quite a good gig. The next job, I'm sure he will get one very quickly, but the next job might be the Jets. And the Jets fire fire coaches at the drop of a hat because of their owner. Like, that's the problem with that as an idea. Now, look, you can take the opinion of, yeah, but you get the payoff. So life's good no matter what happens to you. But if you're looking for a job and you want that job to last 15 years, there aren't many better spots than Pittsburgh.
Right. I kind of agree. I think you're getting this vibe from a lot of the media, though, that it's kind of run its course in Pittsburgh. But will that resonate in the building for the Steelers? And then, would he do a better job with the Giants or a different team? I think so. I mean, I think he'd be fine there. But I think the same questions probably arise. And does it take him? I don't know. Like, some of the issues right now are staleness. It's like all stale, right? No matter who the quarterback is, it's been a stale offense. No matter who the coordinator is, it's been stale. No matter what type of defensive talent they've added there, it's like they've got the same weaknesses and struggle against good teams outside of like one great game against Lamar Jackson last year. So I think you'd be an upgrade in all these other places, but the same things that are potentially running him out of Pittsburgh would be an issue too. It's almost like the James Franklin thing in college, where Penn State's like, oh man, you can't win the big one, we can't have you here. And then Virginia Tech's like, absolutely, we'll take that guy. That
Right.
stability, like this dude's got these, like they're playing in January every year.
Yeah, well, the unknown is
that. Like, we love the job that you have done.
The unknown is, has this just run stale, run its course in Pittsburgh, run into a unique set of circumstances in Pittsburgh. The fact that he hasn't really had an elite quarterback since Big Ben was good, not even since Big Ben retired. Or has Mike Tomlin's shtick just run out of gas, right? And Mike Tomlin's shtick is now good, not great. Like, sure, he would take a bad team and probably immediately make them very competitive. Kind of the way, Mike Vrabel comes in, immediately turns things around. I would imagine Tomlin could have a pretty serious effect on a bad franchise very quickly. The question, though, would then be, can he take that team from good to great, or does he just have a ceiling now of being good?
I think we'll talk more about this. This week's a huge week. They're playing the Ravens, first time, 2 more of those games. I mean, if they lose both Ravens games and this first losing season is on the horizon for Pittsburgh, I think we'll be talking more about the Tomlin thing.
I think that threshold is important, even if it's only for optics. Like, I think if the Steelers finally have, or if Tomlin finally has a losing season, I think that provides people an excuse to say, obviously, a watershed has been crossed here. We need to go in a different direction. If he doesn't, I think it becomes more difficult.
All right, man. That's. Do we want to? We'll do the last one anyway. Fire up the Panthers take.
I'm just saying that the Carolina Panthers could be one of those teams that catches lightning in a bottle.
Yes, but they're not like you feel like the Texans are, right? They're not like dangerous in that spot. They're just, we don't know what they are. Like you've said, the Texans are the one team that no one wants to face. Do we feel that way about Carolina?
Everybody and their mama trusted the LA Rams and called them the best team in football going into week 13.
I did it.
And the Carolina Panthers just whooped their ass. You tell me the team that the Carolina Panthers can't beat.
I mean, it is, don't want to face them season. Don't want to face the Panthers in the playoffs.
I mean, you don't want to face them on the basis that there's no rhyme or reason for what they are. Like, I think it's a reasonable point that they just beat the Rams, who are as good as anybody in the NFL. And as he said, everybody was saying they were the number 1 team last year. So by that logic, Carolina is capable of beating any team in the NFL. And you don't know when that team is going to show up. Now, if you were expecting, like, we have to play Carolina next week, what level of team is likely to show up. I would say most weeks you would be pretty confident that it's not that team. But you don't know when that team's going to show up, and when that team shows up, you're in trouble. So, like, technically he's right, but they're
not necessarily the team I would say would go on a run, because that involves multiple games in a row.
But like if you're
in any given, it's just now you're just describing history though. They've beaten the Packers, they've beaten the Rams, they've beaten the Cowboys, who are now the team that no one wants to be. Like, they've beaten teams that are supposed to be good in the NFC.
But like, there's a difference between are you capable of beating anybody and are you likely to beat anybody? Like, I don't think anybody if you offered any team, let's say the playoffs started tomorrow, right? If you offered any team in the NFC the opportunity to swap their current opponent for the Carolina Panthers, would they take it? I think all of them would.
Yes.
Even though one of them, the Rams would. The Rams would, and they lost the game last week, right?
I'd also, let me add to this, add this to it. The Panthers have taken many of the best teams in the league over the last 2 years, right to the wire.
Yeah.
The Chiefs came down to a last-second field goal. They had a dropped touchdown against the Super Bowl champion Eagles. This is last year, those two teams. So they took the two Super Bowl teams right to the end. Should have beaten the Eagles at least, and almost beat the Chiefs. And they just beat the team that was going into December with this best team in the league tag in the Rams. And they beat the Packers when they were, close to the peak of their powers earlier in the year. So there is this element of like they've played up extremely well.
I have given up attempting to make any sense of the Carolina Panthers. I don't understand them. They confuse me, and that's now my default position on the Panthers. I cannot take it a position because I've acknowledged that I just do not understand what's happening.
If you are tuning in for Contenders and Pretenders, we have a long show. We're going to get there. But first, you know how fast the NFL game days move. One big play and everything changes. That's why live betting on FanDuel is a game changer. With FanDuel, you bet in real time while the game unfolds. Score just flipped, jump on a new spread or live money line. That's wide receivers heating up. You bet the next touchdown score or total yards. Think that drive stalls in the red zone? You could take a live field goal prop or fade the total. Live player props, team totals, drive results, updated spreads, next play markets. It's all there. It's fast, it's fun, and with FanDuel, your live bets move as quickly as the game does. So whether you're riding momentum or fading the hype, FanDuel puts you right in the middle of every moment. You visit FanDuel.com/33rd to download the app. Bet the NFL live all season long. That's FanDuel.com/33rd. Must be 21 plus and present in select states. For Kansas in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 plus and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. Paid endorsement. All right, so we have Shouty Shows. We've got tomorrow night, live watch-along, Cowboys at Lions, and the player prop to keep an eye on this one, Jared Goff. Over under 252.5 passing yards. So you're going up against this Cowboys defense that has struggled throughout the year. Even though they're playing a little bit better, I thought Chiefs and Mahomes mostly had their way when they needed to.
Yeah.
Hit a bit of a lull in the middle of the game there. But then you have Goff and some, Amon-Ra not practicing so far. You've got some playmaker questions. Sam Laporta injured. So you've got some backups there. 252.5 is the over-under for Jared Goff going up against the Cowboys.
And he's cleared that for 5 straight weeks, I think, going up against Dallas's defense, which, albeit improved, should still be problematic enough that you would expect Jared Goff to go. I over.
I'm going to go under, surprisingly here. I think, and the other interesting thing is I think the Cowboys look better in the run game, but I think the Lions are going to have, with their O-line issues, playmaker injuries, going to have to try to run the ball a bit more. So I'll take the under on Goff here. St. Brown injury worries me a little bit. So we'll be watching tomorrow night from the couches, Cowboys-Lions for members. Be free for a little bit, wide open to everybody for a little bit, and it'll be members only watching Thursday Night Football together. Cowboys and Lions, the two Thanksgiving teams getting that Thursday primetime game tomorrow night. All right, it's time for our Wednesday update.
Now it's time for the Wednesday Update, brought to you by the Cincinnati Bugler.
This is we're like Mike Lupica here. This is us.
It's old school.
Bugler. This is the update. This is what they use. The sports reporters on ESPN Sunday morning at 9 or whatever they did.
Wait till we write a book.
We promised the viewers we would investigate Jerry Jones and the turkey leg.
Okay.
We did. I didn't get enough information. I'm going to say he brought that himself.
There it is.
I would say his assistant gave him that turkey leg that he was clutching to.
The imagery of him, I mean, it's weird enough when you just see a still picture of it. When you see, like, he's doing this, I don't know how long that huddle lasted, but, like, multiple minutes, and he's just, like, the entire time is just clutching a turkey leg. There's at some point the prop becomes slightly weird, Don't worry about it. It's just a turkey leg the whole way.
Yeah, I think he's honoring Madden here.
So you got no information, is what you're saying.
I'm still waiting on sources.
Okay.
Still waiting on sources here.
Yeah.
It's not the Bugler's strength.
Investigative journalism.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't tell PJ.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say he just grabbed, like, his assistant absolutely said, "Here, bring the turkey leg."
Did he, like, take it off a player? Like, how many turkey legs were available? Because Jake Ferguson just grabbed the entire
6 per turkey.
Right. Because Jake Ferguson just grabbed the entire carcass and took off with it.
Jerry thought it was a mic. It's like, where do I put this? Good for Jerry. So I don't think he's declaring himself Madden player of the game or anything, because we were wondering.
Okay.
I don't think he's doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of got to the bottom of that. Chicago's getting free hot dogs because Ben Johnson took his shirt off. This is big news.
Yeah.
Ben Johnson says, it doesn't mean anything. There are 5 games left. This is having the number 1 seed. 5 games left. We've got a long ways to go. And we've not been guaranteed a spot in the tournament yet. We have to earn that. And the only way you can earn that right is by finding a way to win the next game. So that's where our sole focus is. But he did take his shirt off, and it led to free hot dogs in Chicago.
Yeah. Just a man of the people. Hooking up the people with free hot dogs.
Remember, we had some reservations on early press conferences from Ben? Is he, enough of a people person? Is he going to be the next just X's and O's savant that's not going to connect with the people?
I think that is a lesson of how there's a certain degree. I mean, media training presumably doesn't really happen for these people until they, if at all, get the head coaching gig. So there's probably just a bumpy period of a few months where these guys get used to, like, true you're the guy press conferences.
They're going to GMAT ahead of time.
Right.
They're going to our guy.
I don't know if they are, though. But even then, because remember when Mike McDaniel started to be put up for press conferences before he was a head coach, right? He was still, like, only the passing game coordinator or something. It's like suddenly Mike McDaniel is everywhere for San Francisco. I'm like, what the hell is happening here? And that was like Kyle almost readying him. Hey, you're about to get a head coaching job. You're going to need to spend the next couple of months talking to the press because that's going to be a thing. So something like Kyle Shanahan was almost hooking him up with the media training before he got the head coaching gig. For other people, though, like Jonathan Gannon, Nick Sirianni, like all these guys have these really rough opening press conferences. You're like, dude, have you ever spoken to humans before? What is happening? Maybe there just needs to be a grace period of a couple of months where these guys just get used to that gig.
Let's remember that next time. And again, we don't really know. I thought it was fascinating when they first brought him into the building at Hallis Hall. I remember, like, everybody gathered around, kind of gave him a big applause. Like, it was a big moment when he came in, which I don't know if that was organic or if it just was a little staged for the media or whatever. But it's going good so far.
Yeah.
And you if you're sitting there Thanksgiving weekend ripping your shirt off, good things are happening.
And again, kind of to plan, right? Like, we expected a relatively slow start, things to be put together. Even, he's one of these coaches that, when the narrative when the narrative outside is often, we just won a game, everything's going great, Caleb Williams has arrived, Ben Johnson's actually like, no, there's a ton of stuff we need to fix. I think that's a good thing. Like, instead of being like, yeah, that was a good win, but on to the next one, he's like, no, that was bad. We got tons of stuff to work on. Caleb needs to buckle down. That's a good thing, I think. Like, he's coaching him hard still.
I'm trying, I try not to tear Bears fans down when they're sitting here with the number 1 seed and 9-3. But I think, our old friend Timo puts out those charts. Like, here's offensive strength, here's defensive strength, and there's like a handful of teams in the strong team bucket. and there's a bunch in the middle. And his point was like, look at all these teams in the middle.
Yeah.
Some teams are 9-3 like the Bears. Some teams are 3-9 like the Cardinals or whatever it is. And the difference there is literally a handful of plays.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it. Like, like we're making the plays. We're doing it at the end of the game and what have you. But the smart teams, and it's fine. Like, don't apologize for winning. But the smart teams, it's the cautionary tale of the 2022 Giants. The smart teams get to the end of the season and properly assess where they are. And they're not like, oh, like if the Bears end up with 12 wins, oh, we're a 12-win team. We're close. We're right there. You could actually say we have a lot of work to do, or we've got more than our record would show. And just make sure you're making the right decisions based off who you really are, not necessarily the win-loss record. But right now, enjoy all the wins. And Ben Johnson, I think the fact that he's doing it, I see all these numbers going around about Caleb Williams. He's got this low completion. I don't even look at completion percentage. I guess it's low. They're doing this with an okay at best passing attack, which is more encouraging than anything else, right? The fact that they're making plays on defense, they're forcing turnovers, they're running the ball the way they did against the Eagles. And I think there's more there with Caleb Williams in this passing attack, which I think is encouraging, really, for the Bears.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great. What else we got here? The Buglers Wednesday update. Jackson Dart. Do we have the audio for this? He says he's not going to change his playing style.
This is football. Like, I'm going to get hit if I'm in the pocket or outside the pocket. Like, I feel like I've played this way my whole entire life. There shouldn't be like any shocker to anybody if you've followed along with my career. And we're not playing soccer out here. Like, you're going to get hit. Things happen. It's part of the game.
I'd be a little concerned by that.
I would be very concerned about that. I tweeted, look, there's a line between toughness and stupidity, and at the moment he's on the wrong side of that line. That hit he took against Caden Ellis was dumb. Like, that's a stupid hit to take as a quarterback. There is a difference between understanding when you need to put your body on the line and go Elway copter, to pick up an important first down or whatever, and understanding that you are going out of bounds anyway. Jump out a little earlier so you don't get blasted by a linebacker on your way out. Like, you may have played the game this way your entire career, but this is the first time you're in the NFL when everybody's, a legit athlete, when everybody's capable of knocking you into next week. Middle schoolers weren't able to do that, right? When you were in high school, you were the biggest, strongest, fastest kid on the block. When you were in college, you were a legit athlete relative to everybody else. You're still legit. Like, we've been surprised by how effective he is as a rusher, but every one of these guys is capable of knocking your block off. And currently you've been analyzed for concussion 4 times, with 2 of them, confirmed. It's time to modify the style, even if it's only temporary, even if it's only, okay, let's at least explore other ways of playing this game. The fact that after being looked at for concussion 4 times already, and that's not even including getting buried by Ellis in that game, the fact that he's still like, no, this is just the way I play, that's pretty concerning.
I would be concerned. And no one questions Mahomes' toughness, and he takes some hits. But he also has some element of self-preservation. I think it's more about picking your spots, and especially for Jackson Dart, for a team that's 2-11 right now. Like, if they're next year, if they're sitting here 8-4 and fighting for a playoff spot, and you want to run QB power on 3rd and 4 and lower your head and make a play, like, that's fine. I get it, but pick your spots.
Yeah, and look, it's we've said this before. Like, it's not actually there's an inverse correlation between sort of size of quarterback and durability, essentially, because I think the bigger contributing factor is the hits you take as opposed to the size you're bringing to the table. But you're not built like Josh Allen. You're not built like Cam Newton. You're not built like one of these guys that should be able to run over a linebacker. He's a big guy, but he's not huge. He's not so big that you're like, yeah, absolutely throw your weight around. You will win the collision because you're a bigger guy. You're not. Most linebackers are still bigger than Jackson Dart. And if those are the guys he's taking on physically, you're going to lose those collisions.
And some of the hits that we're talking about aren't just him lowering his shoulder. I think the Niners one stands out to me when he's in the pocket for like 5 seconds and just no internal clock there. And look, I think he's been good. Dart's been good, man. he's been a good player so far this year.
Yeah.
And shown a lot. But when you hold the ball for 5 seconds and get popped from behind,
I mean, that's why this is important.
That's what I'm saying. Like and I think there's an element of, like, Jimmy Garoppolo was fragile, but if you go back and look at when he got hurt, it was when he tried to do too much. He didn't throw the ball away in time, or he tried to make a little extra move and blew out his Achilles or his ACL along the sideline. Just save the extra hit. Don't, like, every yard doesn't actually matter. And I think one of the most overrated phrases is the best ability is availability. It's overrated because the best ability is ability. Because I don't care if you're available if you don't have ability. But if you have ability, you got to be available too. How about that? And I think Jackson Dart has ability. That's the first key.
Yeah.
But if he's not available, then he's as useless as Jimmy Garoppolo.
Well, that's the thing.
Half his starts.
If you're not good, it doesn't matter whether you get hurt all the time. If you are good, it now matters that you protect yourself, right? So this is the thing. And I agree. In the chat, somebody was saying, where is it? Some name that I'm not going to pronounce.
Perfect.
Dayball got fired for not protecting him, and it turns out it was Dart all along. Look, we don't know how much of a factor that played into it, but absolutely, there are some people out there, Mike Renner perhaps, who owe Brian Dayball an apology. Because, look, we were questioning how much of this is Dayball just running Jackson Dart into the ground trying to save his job, and how much of this is Jackson Dart. At least a pretty significant chunk of it is Jackson Dart.
I mean, there's definitely both. There's a difference between, like, you can control calling QB counter and QB power. You can't control him scrambling along the sideline and toeing the line and waiting for Christian Ellis to knock his head off. I mean, that's clearly.
But that hit, I think, is the best example of, like, that hit paired with that quote is a problem. You can't take that. Like, nobody. There's not a single person out there, coach-wise, who would be like, yeah, good work. Smart, right? Every single coach would be like, do not take that hit. What are you doing?
And I'll just say this. I'd say the other quarterbacks who have towed that line of playing that style, the big quarterbacks that Josh Allen does this all the time. The fact that he has not had major injuries is actually incredible given his playing style. And you could say, well, it's because he's huge and, you know, he inflicts the punishment and maybe there's some truth to that. But Cam Newton played this style, obviously.
Yeah.
They ran power counter all the time. And he was good. He was fine. And he had an MVP season. But there was definitely a point in his career where certainly the injuries caught up his last 3 or 4 years. They caught up to him. And, you know, Dart's young. He's not thinking about that right now. Big Ben played that style. And even though he was really durable, he also got banged up a lot. The number of times that he had to, you know, he's limping, he's coming out of a game, and he fought through it, and he had some toughness or whatever. But I think if you asked him, like, there was definitely a point in his career, too, where he's like, I don't want to hold the ball 3.5 seconds. I'm going to get rid of it and save myself a little bit more and pick my spots when I'm going to do the scramble drill plays. Ben was doing it differently. He wasn't running design QB runs, but he certainly invited contact more than most quarterbacks, and then he stopped doing that at some point.
There are two different ways of taking these hits. There's the in-the-pocket, you know, Big Ben stuff, like, are you prepared to just get blasted while you're trying to make a play passing? And then there's the Caden Ellis play, and that's the one that I think I have a big concern about. Like, maybe the other one is more important in terms of actual durability and whether a guy is going to get hurt long-term, and that might be a game you're willing to play Big Ben style in terms of, look, I'm just going to put my body on the line because these are the plays that are important. But it's quarterbacks do not get that many opportunities to be like, you have complete and total say whether you take a hit or not, right? There's a 230-plus pound linebacker running with a head of steam in your direction, and you control 100% whether or not that guy delivers a bone-crushing blow on your body or not. Now, if there are very few instances in football where you have that 100% control. You can either. What do you want to do, Jackson? You got a 50-50 choice. Either you take a massive shot from a big, heavy guy running straight at you, or you don't. You know, what do you want to go for? And Jackson Dart is voluntarily opting into, no, light me up, right? You know, what are you doing? Why? For half a yard?
And I just think at the end of the day, like, Jackson Dart, I think, is a good passer of the football. And that's going to be the most important thing. I don't think him picking up a couple extra yards because he's tough.
Oh, we've been talking about the wrong Ellis. It's Christian Ellis. Is that right?
Christian. You keep saying
I keep saying
Caden, but it's Christian, yes. I meant to say that to you off air the other night, Christian. Dart, I think Dart could be a good passer in this league. And, you know, a 10-yard slant counts the same as a 10-yard run, right? So develop as a passer. And then, like a Josh Allen, when it's third down, when the game's on the line, like, then you start to use what I think it has been a superpower that we didn't anticipate, which is his running ability. It is a special part of his game. But just like we've said before, you don't want Justin Fields running. I mean, you might want him running 12 to 15 times because he doesn't throw the ball as efficiently. I don't want Jackson Dart with 12 carries next to his name every single week. If there's 6 or 7 and they're the right ones at the right time, fine. But I think he can develop as a passer, and that's going to be the most important part of his development. Younghoe Koo had a bad kick the other night.
I mean, he didn't even kick.
Just reading our notes.
Yeah.
He kicked to the turf.
He did. He stopped kicking. So look, on the one hand, my opinion would be, even if the spot is slightly off and stuff, like, just swing a leg at it. What's the worst that could happen? On the other hand, I've read posts from actual kickers who have been like, look, if you try and kick that and the ball has moved off its spot, and you're obviously going to shank it, and now you're at risk of it being blocked, and suddenly he goes back for a touchdown, actually pulling up and just letting your punter get buried or your holder get buried is the preferable option. So, I mean, those are your two schools of thought. My opinion would be, look, you're already most of the way there. Swing a leg at it. Chances are it's not going to go in, but you might get lucky. Actual kickers tend to be of the opinion of, you try and swing a leg at that and the hole's off, you're going to get that thing caught by a defensive lineman, and the thing's gone back to the house and you look like an idiot. Now, you look like an idiot anyway, but anyway, those are your two options.
Speaking of idiots, Eagles offensive coordinator Kevin Patullo had his.
What would as kicking expert, what would you do?
You kick the ball.
You kick it, even though
take your chances.
Even though the hole's off.
Yeah.
The whole thing's going to hell. You're like, just go for it.
Give it a shot. You got to give it a shot, even if you're embarrassed. Kevin Patullo, Eagles offensive coordinator, had his home vandalized with eggs.
Eggs.
Yeah, they egged his house after the Bears loss.
All right.
That's mean.
Pretty harsh.
He'll continue to keep calling plays per Nick Sirianni. These are just important parts of the update.
Yeah.
The current draft order right now: Titans at number 1, Giants at number 2, Saints at number 3, Raiders at number 4, Browns at number 5. There was a potential domino that fell this weekend that might affect the draft.
Yeah.
The domino that fell was Oregon offensive coordinator Will Stein, who's done a nice job developing Bo Nix and Dylan Gabriel and others. Will Stein has taken the Kentucky head coaching job. Dante Moore is the quarterback at Oregon. And I think if you polled scouts right now, who's the best NFL draft prospect, who is draft eligible, they would say Dante Moore from Oregon. But then they would also say he's a redshirt sophomore, he's probably coming back to school. The fact that Stein is no longer there could be a domino that falls and pushes Dante Moore to declare. I think he's a very good quarterback prospect. 5-star recruit, showed some flashes as a freshman at UCLA, transferred to Oregon last year, redshirted, sat behind Dylan Gabriel, and has had an excellent season this year in some tough conditions too, playing in cold and rain in Iowa and with offensive linemen hurt, with playmakers hurt, and the whole deal. So that was just something for NFL fans watching what's happening in college. The fact that Dante Moore has lost his offensive coordinator might make him more inclined to come out. We'll see. But between Dante Moore, probably Ty Simpson at Alabama, and probably Fernando Mendoza at Indiana, we're looking at 3 quarterbacks right now expected in and around the top 5. The Titans and Giants sitting there at 1 and 2 without QB needs makes it really interesting. And I think that Dante Moore domino for the Titans and the Giants in particular, if they're sitting at the top, I think Dante Moore's trade worthy. I think he is trade up worthy. And you have teams like the Browns, the Jets, these teams that have multiple draft picks, even the Rams, by the way, if they're looking to the future. Like if the Rams really want to make a power move and have this smooth transition, as great as Stafford is playing here at 37, and he seems like he wants to keep going. But if you want to really think long term, if you're the Rams and have a Dante Moore sit for 2 years with McVay, as Stafford
even if they
gets into his close to 40,
obviously getting aggressive and using multiple picks to go get somebody, yeah, but also even just drafting a QB with the bonus pick that they get from Atlanta. Like if they're in a position to get QB, 2, 3, 4, whatever in the draft, just with the pick that they picked up by trading out, I mean, that could be huge.
Yeah. So I think it's big for the Titans at 1 because they have so many needs. And absolutely, they would want to trade out. They would, and I don't know if you get the Bears haul from a couple of years ago that the Panthers gave up to get Bryce Young, but the Titans turned down trade up offers from the Giants last year, and maybe others turned it down to get Cam Ward. And now, all right, Cam Ward's your guy. You have so many needs, both sides of the ball. Titans have a golden opportunity here if they do end up with the number 1 pick to trade down and pick up some extra draft
The
capital.
way it's currently positioned, you would say that's very good news for the Browns. And this is why I don't think you should be reacting, with the way the Browns radio reacts at the moment to fire everybody in the building. This is a joke. This is the plan. The plan is this year will suck. We will look at 2 young quarterbacks that we drafted on the off chance that one of those guys is amazing. Assuming they're not, which is the most likely thing to happen given where they were drafted, we are positioned with multiple first-round draft picks for this year to go get the guy we want. So if the Browns love somebody in this draft with the number 5 overall pick and another first-round pick, albeit one that's a lot lower than maybe they were hoping it would be, they are positioned to be the team that trades with Tennessee, with the Giants, with whoever, and going to get the guy they like. And if that's what they achieve, they get out of this season. It didn't go well. They got their look at Shedeur and Dylan Gabriel. Maybe they've decided Shedeur is good enough to be the backup long term. Maybe they've decided both those guys suck and they're going to move in a different direction. And then they go and get the quarterback at the top of next year's draft, and he's the guy. Then that was an entirely successful season, even though on the field they were awful.
I'm with you, man. Cleveland's got 5.
Process, not results.
Cleveland has 5 and then 26. That Jags pick is only 26.
I'm
Jets,
sure they were hoping that would have been a mid-first round pick.
Yeah, absolutely. The Jets have 7 and then 23.
Yeah.
So they traded with the Colts. They knew the Colts were good, so they knew they'd be in the 20s.
And obviously the Jets have future picks as well.
Just to touch on the Rams quickly, and look, I'm gonna talk about this a lot during the offseason. The Rams are sitting there at 9, and there's such the butterfly effect of a couple things that the Rams tried to do the last couple of years. 2 years ago, they reportedly tried to trade into the top 10, I believe, for a Brock Bowers 2 years ago when all those defensive players went off the board. Last year, we heard it on the Panthers, their draft videos. They were the team trying to trade up to 8 to get Tedero and McMillan, and then instead traded out of the first round and have an extra first rounder this year. It is so interesting to me. And then the other thing that they did actually execute was 2 years ago, gave up an extra 2 just to move up 10 to 12 spots for Braden Fisk. And Fisk has been a very good player, but, always comes down to, is he worth 2 high 2s, basically? The fact that the Rams have been so aggressive trying to trade up the last couple of years and failed, essentially. They tried to get Brock Bowers, they tried to get Tedero and McMillan, but then when it didn't work, they went to this other strategy, which is, okay, now we're going to trade out and be conservative. It's not this overarching Rams strategy they've kind of stumbled into. Now they might have a top 10 pick this year, and it could set them up to take this quarterback of the future. It's just, I'll talk about it a lot, I'm sure, when we do mock drafts and how you got here and understanding the history, but really fascinating to me because the Rams could be sitting there with one of those elite players like a Brock Bowers or a Tedero or McMillan, completely devoid of draft picks, right? They could have no leverage whatsoever, but have this really good young player. But instead, they're sitting here with 2 picks, including a premium potential top 10 pick, just because of, whatever failed discussions or whatever, however you want to position it.
Yeah, they're fascinating because they've shown, I don't know if they have a concrete, a flow chart of plan. We do this, if not, we go to this. But they've shown the willingness to go in completely different and random directions. They're not a team that's just, we always trade down or we always trade up. They're we're happy to do whatever.
That's why I think a lot of times we think of teams as having this overarching strategy of we're going to have 12 picks or we're going to have whatever. I think it's just each situation was different.
But I think there's
they recognized Braden Fisk and said this is worth giving up an extra 2. They recognized Bowers and McMillan and said that's worth trading, probably giving up a future 1. We'll give up 2 1s for that one guy. We're willing to do that. And then when they're sitting there picking in the 20s and those players that they don't love aren't on the board, they're like, okay, we'll trade into next year.
I think they understand.
They're individual decisions.
I think they understand what needs to be on the other side of the balance in order to do anything, right? So they are willing to do any of these moves that sort of break the overall strategy or the overall big picture thinking, but then they are aware of, well, if we do that, this is what needs to be on the other side of that balance sheet in order to make the whole thing make sense long term. Like if we go and trade a bunch of top picks for star players, we then need to go and make sure we're drafting 12 times a year to backfill and blah, blah, blah. I think they're very good at that. Like not just any one of these moves is fine, but they understand what they need to do to counter that if they do anything that deviates from an overall strategy.
All right. And then because I'm at the mercy of producer Will and the notes that he's put in front of me here.
Yep.
For the update, the Super Bowl pregame performers have been announced. Pregame?
Okay.
I didn't know they had pregame performers.
Where do those happen? I've been at Super Bowls and don't remember there being pregame performers.
Outside? We've got Charlie Puth. Is that right? Brandy Carlisle and Coco Jones.
Have you heard of any of those 3 people that have been announced as Super Bowl pregame performers?
I know nothing about them.
Got it.
You?
No, not heard of one of them.
Well,
so I'm not tremendously excited for the Super Bowl pregame performance.
I don't necessarily listen to their music, but the fact that they're still making it, I respect that.
The fact they're still making music? Oh, these are
it's from Zoolander.
Okay. These are like the anthems and stuff.
It's from Zoolander. When he goes, Sting. Sting's a real hero of mine. I don't really listen to his music, but the fact that he's still making it, I respect that.
These are like the anthem, national anthem, America the Beautiful, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. Well, I'm looking forward to it.
I don't have a particularly strong opinion as to,
I think they're going to crush
There's no one that I'm particularly rooting for to get a national anthem gig. You know what I mean? Can you think of anyone out there that you're like, man, it's been way too long since that guy needs a shot. This person needs a shot at the national anthem.
They should just replay Whitney Houston 1991 national anthem. Just replay that.
Has Scott Stapp ever had a crack at the national anthem?
Unfortunately, no. Now the
it's
fact
been too long.
While we're here, when I listened to some Creed growing up,
right?
And then Creed was kind of like this. Like I had a lot of friends who loved Pearl Jam, right? And like the music lovers, and they were like, "Well, Pearl Jam is like special music, and Creed is like this."
They were
disgusting knockoff.
They were Nickelback before Nickelback was Nickelback.
They kind of were. So you'd have to kind of be like a closet Creed listener around my friends in particular. New album's out. I'm not going to, shout this from the rooftops or anything. This might be between me and maybe some other, really close, a friend or two, but that's it. 20 plus years later, though, there's a lot of, maybe it's just where the algorithm's taken me.
Yeah, probably.
I think Creed, there's like the closet Creed fans that have popped up. So are they more popular than I ever expected?
No, I think you just
or is it just a joke?
I think you just reached the age now where you're no longer
people make Creed jokes.
You're just no longer afraid of the shame,
Well, then that girl, that one, whatever she was, DJ or whatever, she did like the Creed remix that went viral, and I think that got them back on the map.
I don't think I've heard.
You never heard that?
Not that I know of.
Oh, there's that video maybe 2 years
Creed?
ago. Oh yeah, she made this unbelievable like club remix of one of their songs. It was from one of their later albums, and I think that thing took off. And then people started making all these other iterations of the same. But that's why they're all on the algorithm right now.
Okay.
That's why
that's where you can trace it back to that. You've stumbled upon that video, and now you're down the Creed algorithm.
But you're sending me a lot of Creed jokes and everything too. They've gotten to you too.
I send you any Creed thing that comes across my timeline. I don't know if there's that much of it, though.
This is good. This will be good for cut that up for social media. Why is Creed on my timeline? It's the girl who did the remix.
Okay.
It's the remix girl. Can we get that? The copyright issues? Can we get that?
We get copyright striked.
We've got a couple of roster moves here as well.
Do we?
Oh my gosh! Did you see okay, really quick. I don't care about the kicker for the Colts. The Steelers have waived Darius Slay.
Yeah.
Slay wants to go sign with another team. Did you see the Steelers tweet that went viral?
No.
A couple days ago. Can we find that? Look up the one. It's so good. Because the Vikings have waived Adam Thielen.
Yeah.
And that becomes a pretty bad trade for Kwesi and the Vikings in hindsight.
Particularly because it's fairly obvious based off last season that Adam Thielen is still pretty good. If you can't find, it's not like Adam Thielen's got nothing to bring to the table based off a season ago. So if that's the case and you just simply can't find a spot to put him on the roster or put him on the team, then what was the point in the trade?
It was early season security, supposedly.
Right, whilst you're, not a particularly good football team right now. Like an incredibly short-sighted move if that was the deal.
So this tweet went viral the last couple days. You just in a closet. You don't know where Creed stuff. You don't know the Creed song, and you don't know the Steelers tweet. I don't know what you're even doing with your life in between shows here, Sam. So Seth Rohrabaugh tweets this on November 30th. That's a few days ago.
It is.
And I saw Chris Long picked this up. A lot of people picked this up. First saw it from Pony. So the tweet says, quote, Mike Tomlin will say something like, "We can't eat soup with forks. We need spoons." Then the Steelers will sign a 2018 Pro Bowler to the practice squad. This is on November 30th. 2 days later, they literally signed 2018 Pro Bowler Adam Thielen to the practice squad. We can't eat with soup. We can't eat soup with forks. We need spoons.
Yeah.
And then they'll go sign a Pro Bowler from 2018.
Actually. I did see that.
It's so good. Oh, it's so perfect. And so Adam Thielen, they're going to ramp him up, and maybe he becomes wide receiver 2.
I mean,
he honestly can be wide receiver 2.
That's the crazy thing. Based off last season in Carolina, Adam Thielen could easily become this team's second receiver.
Yeah.
Here we go.
There it is. Good job, Seth. Nailed it. That is such a Tomlin quote, isn't it? We need spoons.
I love when a tweet like that actually does come true and you actually nail it. That's good.
That's really good. Kudos. It's great. Great twittering. So Darius Slay left the Steelers. They are elevating Asante Samuel Jr., which is intriguing. Coming off of his injury status and everything. He's only in year 5 of his career. There's always been a pretty solid corner. Darius Slay didn't work out there. A lot of interesting quotes coming out of Pittsburgh. They thought Slay could really play. They thought he was going to be one-on-one, lockdown, big receiver, shutdown corner guy at this point in his career. And
right.
Was not the case.
They're like, no, actually, not true.
And then some injury updates.
I mean, maybe he would have been if their pass rush was getting anything.
Blame them, huh?
I'm just saying it's probably a part of it.
We'll circle back to Pittsburgh in a minute here. Injury updates, we'll go through these quick. Colts, cornerback Sauce Gardner, he's just week to week with the calf strain. That's the best news possible given how he limped off for the Colts. So not long-term, but he'll miss some time. Justin Herbert, successful surgery to fix his break in his left hand. He's considered day-to-day. They've got Monday Night Football, so extra day to recover there. I did see Dr. Chow, who's really good at these predictions, expecting him to play Monday night. He thinks he'll be less limited than he was on Sunday. So that's good news, I think, for the Chargers, given a break in the left hand. Jaden Daniels in his dislocated elbow has a, quote, chance to return, end quote, week 14. Mm-hmm. They only have 3 wins, but he's the starting quarterback, and QBs play when they're healthy.
I mean, he plays when he's healthy. That's the case of when he's actually healthy, he plays. There's no point in taking any kind of risk with him, but he will return at some point.
Also, Chargers running back Amarian Hampton is expected to return this week. Again, I think some big play threat from their first round running back at him with Kamadi Vidal, and nice little 1-2 punch there, the way that's developing for the Chargers.
Yeah.
Cardinals running back Trey Benson, eligible to return from IR. They're just the most pass-happy team in the NFL right now with Jacoby Brissett under center. Maybe they could get a little more consistency with the run game with Benson. Amon-Ra St. Brown, likely to miss a game or two, Lions receiver. Lions corner, Terrion Arnold. I know we're just flying through this. Terrion Arnold's out for the season with a shoulder injury. So Amon-Ra missing a couple games, likely 1 or 2. Arnold had been banged up at various points this season. Remember, he got hurt earlier, and they thought it was long term,
Yeah.
and it wasn't.
And then he's like, oh, he's actually back at practice.
So he's out for the season.
But it kind of coincides. I mean, they just can't keep the secondary healthy at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, DJ Reed's only been back a couple of weeks, and now it's like, oh, great, the secondary's getting healthier again. Then no, Darnold's down again.
We've got T. Higgins, who's missed last week due to concussion, two-way concussion. He remains in protocol, but has a chance to play against the Bills on Sunday. That's obviously huge, given what's on the line for Cincinnati and trying to have Higgins and Jamar Chase together. Remember, they beat the Ravens pretty handily without Higgins the other night, and Joe Burrow returning. J.J. McCarthy is expected to be back from his concussion this week against the Commanders. So we could see a little J.J. McCarthy versus Jaden Daniels. 9 is on his way back this week.
9. I want to see John Walford. I say free John Walford.
Free John Walford.
John Walford against the Commanders can put up 450.
Dude, what if he came in,
he can add
throws for 450, they score 40 points?
That's what I'm saying. He could be the guy, the current list of top passing performances this season based off yardage alone is Joe Flacco, Jacoby Brissett, Russell Wilson, and Bryce Young. John Walford could be the 5th name on that list to throw for like 450.
Yeah.
If you just put him in there against the Commanders with Kevin O'Connell calling plays. I don't think 9's getting there. I don't think Brosmer's doing it.
Walford's ready. He's ready. And then I just cannot keep up with the Brandon Ayuk saga. But Kyle Shanahan says the 49ers are, quote, hopeful but not counting on Brandon Ayuk returning this season. Didn't they just cancel his contract? They just canceled everything.
Like, what's the variable? Like, we're hopeful we can talk him into showing up for work?
It's been the weirdest thing because I don't read these things every day. You just get the news as it comes to you. The last 2 years of Ayuk wants a contract. He got the contract, and then he wasn't happy the whole time. And now it's contract's voided, and now he still could come back. What is going on here? So
I just don't know what the I don't understand what what's the thing that this is dependent on. Like, he just has to decide, okay, now I'll play football for money again? Like, what are we waiting on?
I wouldn't count on him.
No.
But can you count on anything these days?
I mean, Kyle couldn't, like the last time we heard from Kyle and what you can count on and not. He wasn't counting on being alive next week.
So we're certainly not going to count on Brandon Ayuk,
right,
who's unreliable. All right, we're going to fix the Steelers in a second here. Quick break to talk about our friends over at Root Insurance. Root Insurance believes that good drivers deserve better rates, so they've created a new kind of car insurance that rewards good drivers in an easy-to-use app. Traditional car insurance companies focus on demographics like age, zip code, occupation, and credit score to price your coverage. When Root offers a rate, your behavior behind the wheel gets more weight than any other single factor. They don't use occupation or education level to negatively affect your rate. While you drive, Root gathers and analyzes data from your smartphone sensors, and after a few weeks, you'll get a car insurance quote based primarily on your driving. Save up to 44% off your initial Root quote after you take the test drive. If you need a tow truck, jump start, or you lock your keys in the car, Root will cover the help you need to get back on the road when you opt into Roadside Assistance. The Root app makes it easy to edit your coverage, update your policy, or file a claim in just 3 minutes. You can get started today at Root.com. And today, we're providing Roadside Assistance for the Pittsburgh Steelers. How are we going to fix the 6-6 Steelers heading in to this Ravens game?
Are we activating Adam Thielen, throw him straight in there?
Yeah. I mean, Aaron's already throwing receivers under the bus, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think he took responsibility as well. I don't think he just said everyone was bad, which is true.
Well, he said, people aren't showing up for film sessions. And
yeah, but he also
not doing this. I'm just saying Thielen's going to be in the right place at the right time.
Yeah,
because Rodgers can still chuck it.
Right.
And I think Thielen's at least very quickly going to be able to see the game through the eyes of Aaron. So get Thielen in there as soon as possible.
Well, yeah. I mean, Thielen is a good, savvy, veteran, smart wide receiver. On the other hand, I don't know that that's necessarily what determines whether or not you're going to have a connection with Aaron Rodgers or not, because those seem to be hard to come by.
And if you see they haven't completed a 20-plus yard pass in like over a month, the Steelers, like 5 straight games.
Right.
I go back to early in the season. I know they've used DK Metcalf down the field a little bit more than they did the first few weeks. Just use him down the field, especially if you have Thielen.
Yeah. And the fact that
we're putting a lot of eggs in the Adam Thielen late in his career.
And the fact that Rodgers can still throw those passes.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like this is an offense that's restricted by a quarterback that can't get the ball downfield. Apparently the dude can throw it 65, 70 yards or whatever. Unleash.
And he's missed a couple as well. But I would say start chucking. I mean, late in Big Ben's career, I thought that offense got very conservative.
Yeah.
It was very dink and dunk, and he was averaging like 6 yards per attempt, which is why I'm saying, like, that's the whole Tomlin discussion, is the fact that no matter who he has, it's kind of in the last 6 or 7 years morphed into the same team year after year. No matter how good the defense is, no matter who the quarterback is, whether it's a future Hall of Famer like Ben or whether it's Kenny Pickett, it's morphed into the same guy. When Ben was doing that, I just said, just start chucking it down the field. And that was when they had Chase Claypool and Deontay Johnson. Like, just give those guys opportunities to make big plays. So do that. Use DK as a downfield threat. Use Thielen on the underneath stuff. And then
some comedy targets for Darnell Washington.
Yeah, I mean, let Darnell be a complimentary piece rather than the guy. Freiermuth could still catch the line. They have players.
Yeah.
And just play better defensively. Just play better.
Play better defense.
Just play better defensively.
Yeah.
From Jalen Ramsey playing safety, I think has been still a solid move. We'll talk about it with the Ravens breakdown tomorrow, but they need to rush the passer better.
I don't understand why their pass rush isn't better. It doesn't make any sense to me. That collection of defensive linemen should be absolutely murdering pretty much every offense it comes up against, and it simply isn't.
Let's change something schematically. It's another one, like, no matter who the play caller is. Remember, I don't think Flores was calling plays necessarily, and
No.
I don't know if Tomlin's the one actually calling the plays or building the defense.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
But no matter who the defensive coordinator is, it's still this 90s style Steelers old school 3-4 with a lot of the same principles, a lot of the same holes. It might be too late to change, but change something up. I feel like I've been asking the Steelers to change for years.
Right. Even if you're not going to change, like radically overhaul the scheme or something, like let's do something little different.
This isn't like the Steelers' defensive problem isn't new. Like when Brady was there for the Patriots, remember Brady would carve them up.
Yeah.
Every single week, every single time they played. And it was like, man, he just knows exactly what they're going to do. There was one game I remember though where they never played man, but they did change. They started matching up and playing man, and they took Gronk away or whatever it was at that time. And it was like, wow, that was one of the first times I've ever seen them put together this game plan-oriented defense.
Yep.
And then last year, we'll talk about it with the Ravens preview tomorrow, I was like, what did they do against Baltimore? Because they shut down Lamar last year. The only game where Lamar, I think, had a bad game. And they didn't. It wasn't radical. It was like they just played cover 3 and just did it really well. So it wasn't game plan-oriented. They just executed extremely well. I'd be interested if they went more game plan oriented week to week, though.
You know how many snaps TJ Watt has spent on the right side of the line this year?
Probably 5.
10.
Yeah.
He's played almost 700 snaps of football, and 10 of them have come on the other side of the line. Like,
probably
what's the worst thing that could happen if you asked him to play a handful of snaps a game on the other side of the line? Heaven forbid, somewhere in the middle, right? Like, why not take a TJ Watt, who Steelers fans have been campaigning as the best defensive player in the game for like a decade? Why not take that guy and move him around a bit?
I mean, and then if you have, I think you talk to like Mitchell Schwartz, when you're a right tackle, when you have to face 4 or 5 different rushers in a game rather than just one,
right?
You've got to prepare differently. You get attacked with power. You get like the fact, like when the Chiefs put Chris Jones out there against right tackles, it's like, all right, now you've got a 320-pounder coming at you with speed to power and quickness. That's different than facing George Karlaftis or something. That's just different, right? Than facing the other players that you have to face. That also frees up.
And you also know
Herbig rushing from that side, that you always said in college he was good at.
You also know ahead of time, if you're an offense preparing for the Steelers and you want to dedicate double team help to TJ Watt, you know ahead of time, like forever, that we just have to dedicate that. It just goes right. Right? The running back just aligns right. The tight end just is the right of the formation. Like, you don't have to do anything pre-snap. You just know that's where it is. If you start moving TJ Watt around, now you've got to, in the seconds you have pre-snap, you have to flip the play. You have to flip the protection. You have to flip that. You force the offense to actually change stuff between calling the play and running the play once they see TJ Watt is not where you thought he was going to be. There's probably some use to that, right? Because those are seconds that guy's not reading the coverage. Those are seconds that he's not doing something else because he's moving the protection so that he doesn't get killed.
There we go. We're fixing the Steelers. We've got some better defined roles for the receivers, and we've added some creativity to the defense. It's not going to happen. But
No, obviously not.
Certainly not. It's autopsy time. We've got the graveyard over there. It's time to bury the Washington Commanders.
I was going to say, who we killing?
The Commanders.
All right.
We didn't kill them yet, huh?
No, apparently not.
Well, their season's over.
Yeah.
3-10. What are they?
Now, when it ended is interesting.
Yeah. When did
it end? Because it probably ended
3-12. 3-9. Sorry.
It definitely ended with Jaden Daniels' injury. Did it end before that?
So Daniels didn't get hurt until week 9.
Right.
Against Seattle. But the first real heartbreaking loss, they're sitting there at 3-2. The last time they won, they beat the Chargers pretty handily, 27-10, and then they lost 25-24 to the number 1 seed in the NFC, the Chicago Bears. And it's kind of ironic, actually, if we look at the last 2 seasons. Listen, look at these parallels. Caleb Williams, number 1 pick. Jaden Daniels, number 2 pick. In 2024, last year, I believe both teams were 4-2 when they met. It was the Tyreek Stevenson Hail Mary game. The Commanders win it with the Hail Mary.
Mm-hmm.
And the Bears did not win another game after that heartbreaking loss until Week 18 against the Packers in a game that didn't mean anything for them. So it has happened in reverse this year, where the 3-2 Commanders face the Bears. They lose 25-24 and have not won a game since that point. How about that?
Yeah.
You didn't know that?
No, I didn't.
I didn't either until I saw it, until I knew it.
So is the time of death playing the Bears?
I think the Bears killed them.
The Bears killed them.
Because they haven't recovered.
When was that?
That was week 6, Monday night. It was a doubleheader, Monday night doubleheader, October 13th.
I think we need.
So they only fell to 3-3, but they have not won since. They lost to the Cowboys 44-22. They got smoked by the Chiefs. And by the way, Mariota had come in and won a couple games for them. Like they were already like skating through a couple, but their defense was bad for most of the beginning of the season. It hasn't really recovered.
I think we need a poll in the chat to figure out whether week 6 against Chicago or week 9 against Seattle when Jaden Daniels got hurt was actually the thing that killed the Washington season. Because
the first half against Seattle, the other part I would say is they played Monday night against Kansas City where they played tough. Remember, they played tough in the first half, and then the second half they got outscored like 21-0.
Yeah.
So it was a 21-0 second half against Kansas City, and then a 31-0 or whatever, 31-7 first half against Seattle.
Oh, I mean, they were definitely
those
dead.
back-to-back primetime games. The knife got twisted.
Oh
for
yeah,
sure.
They were definitely dead by the end of the Seahawks game. The question is just, were they actually dead for 3 weeks before that? And we just hadn't identified the death in the Chicago game because we hadn't,
it's a hindsight.
We hadn't thought about it as a flip from last year.
We had no idea that it was going to have the inverse effect. Do not lose that game. The most pivotal game on the schedule
every year
Washington
now.
against Chicago. Do they play next year?
Not every year, but the years that it happens.
Anyway.
Week 6 is a runaway win at the moment.
October 13th.
October 13th. Right.
Same day as the Titans, apparently.
Well, there you go. Who knew?
How'd they die on a Monday? Titans don't have any primetime games. So Sam's adding that to the graveyard. Washington died.
What was that? November 11th?
10-13.
10-13.
Yeah. Commanders killed the Bears last year. Their cause of death was Tyreek Stevenson celebrating last year. And the Commanders' cause of death was losing to the Bears 25-24 on Monday Night Football. I'm going to scroll down just a touch. There it is. Look at that. Right next to the Nickelodeon football that you won at the Super Bowl on Radio Row last year. So there we go.
And the sound deadening moving blanket.
That's right.
This is part of the decor in the studio.
Rest in peace, Washington Commanders.
Covering a door that isn't supposed to be there.
All right, let's unpack contenders and pretenders. Here we are, heading into Week 14. It's December time. Who are the actual contenders in the NFL? We'll go division by division, starting the AFC East. New England Patriots, currently the number 1 seed, in part because they played an extra game. They're 11-2. And then the Buffalo Bills, the perennial AFC East champion, sitting there at 8-4. Bills still have a 90% chance to make the playoffs, and Patriots probably going to win the division, battling for the number 1 seed. In the East, Patriots, Bills, contenders or pretenders for you?
So should we set a reasonably high bar? Because I think in this year, almost more than any other, everybody's a contender.
Can they, this is Super Bowl contender, can they win the Super Bowl? Can you see a 3 or 4 game run?
I think both the Patriots
Lombardi.
and the Bills are capable of winning a Super Bowl this year.
I agree. And honestly, I believe if the Bills get the 7 seed, I don't care where they go, I might pick them. I mean, I think I picked them to go to the Super Bowl anyway.
I think what New England did to the Giants was very impressive. Like, it's not that that's a game they should have lost or anything, but that was an impressive dismantling of a team that's been difficult to beat this season, or at least has caused problems for other good teams. So that's not one that we were necessarily identifying as a, hey, your schedule's getting tougher type of game, but it's definitely a game where that could have been really close, down to the wire, the Giants being feisty, causing issues the way they have for other teams. Instead, the Patriots just blew them out of the water in the first half.
Yeah, I think some interesting points on New England that I've seen from other media members as well. I think Ben Solak, maybe Mina, was saying something similar. Like, Drake May's got this MVP case, but you're not watching him saying, oh, it's because he's facing the Giants, or it's because he's facing these bad teams. Like, he's making
it's
really
like,
good
oh,
throws.
look at this absurd dime he's dropping into somebody.
And so there's two truths here. I believe their record is enhanced because they haven't been challenged. I think May's playing great. I'd worry a little bit about, are you going to hit 4 or 5 of those downfield passes every single week? Like, you can't just rely on those. But I think May has other ways to win. And so that's the thing with New England. My concern maybe is their ability to run the ball consistently and win up front that way. But I think they have a good enough defense. They can win multiple ways on offense. May has a chance to take – he's shown that he could take over games and make special plays. Did it against Buffalo in Buffalo. So I think the Patriots are a contender.
They're also – I think they're more vulnerable than some other teams to injuries. You know, this is not the deepest team in the world. So and they're already – look, they're down Will Campbell, Milton Williams. These are big players that they hope to get back. So that they're already – again, it's impressive that they're doing this without a couple of important players. But – there are other teams, I think, that would be much more able to absorb a few more injuries down the stretch than the Patriots, I think, would be.
And then from a Buffalo perspective, like, I know it's uncomfortable. It doesn't feel great, and they've had some duds this year. But, dude, like, they're certainly more than capable of going on the 4-game run. They still have Josh Allen. They're not devoid of talent,
I mean,
right?
basically that on its own, right? Forget everything else. You have Josh Allen.
They've been to multiple AFC championships.
The current reigning MVP, albeit a guy not necessarily playing like that at the moment. If you have that guy, you're basically capable of going on that Super Bowl run.
It's also a good roster. I know, like, as the Bills and Chiefs start to lose, everybody's like, well, you know, it's just that Mahomes and Allen are just carrying them, you know, dragging these guys. It's like, no, they're not. They have good players on both of those teams. The Bills are going to be fine. They're a contender. And I'm Super Bowl contender. Patriots and Bills, yes. AFC North, Ravens, Steelers, and Bengals. Are any of those 3 teams Super Bowl contenders this year?
I'm going to say no. I think
I'm out on all of them as Super Bowl contenders.
I don't know that any of those teams can go on that run we're talking about. Maybe the Bengals, if Burrow coming back has sparked the kind of second half of the season that they had a year ago, maybe they could catch the right end of every one of those shootouts and go on that run. I wouldn't bet on it. The Ravens, theoretically, if Lamar Jackson kicks into high gear, could have the same type of performance, but he's never really done that in the playoffs. He has never even played he's rarely played particularly well in the playoffs at all. So I don't think you can have too much confidence in that. And then the Steelers, I just think, are way too flawed for that to be the case. So, no, I don't think any of those are contenders.
Yeah, I'd say definitely no to the Steelers. I'd still say no to the Bengals. They're sitting here at 4-8. I'm not going out on a limb there. But I get what you're saying. Like, if they hit their stride, truly do win out, and like, the offense is unstoppable.
Yeah, theoretically, there's a Bengals-like team within the Baltimore Ravens. If that offense clicks into gear and the defense is just, average, then they could be the same type of thing.
The defense has been average.
It's been better than,
It's been better.
Right.
The Ravens thing's interesting because, me just gripping my priors, right? See, even in week 14, like me calling the Bills a contender is in part because I've seen what they've done historically. So you'd say, Steve, why wouldn't you do the same thing with the Ravens? They've been one of the most dominant teams in the league the last couple of years. The difference there is I think the Bills have showed elements of that at points this year. I don't think the Ravens have looked good ever this season.
Right.
They have underachieved from start to finish. The only time the Ravens looked good was the first 3 quarters against the Bills. That was the best they looked. The first 3 quarters of the season, literal 3 quarters of play, the Ravens looked great. They looked like the unstoppable Ravens. They have not played that level of football since the 4th quarter of the week 1 against the Bills. So even though there's a history here, and if you told me, hey, Lamar's going to get a little healthier and they're going to have this sick run game and open up the pass game and the defense with Kyle Hamilton running around and enhancing it, like they're going to play much better. We haven't really seen that at all this season. So I don't have the same faith I have in that offense or that I've had in the past. And then defensively, even with the Hamilton move and a lot of the talent that they have, they don't rush the passer well at all. Certainly not compared to what they've done in the past. So I don't have that same faith in the Ravens. I'll say all 3 AFC North teams, no pretenders.
Yeah, I mean,
no contenders.
again, we're not Jeff Saturday on this show. There's no one that's going to make the playoffs that I would say has a 0% chance of winning the Super Bowl. But I don't think any of those teams will.
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to put them into
not
one
even
of 2
will.
camps. It doesn't mean they're gonna 100%. Or
I don't think
50%.
any of those teams are even likely, let alone can.
AFC South, the Jaguars, Colts, and Texans. Jags and Colts tied for first. Texans 1 game back. Who are the contenders and pretenders in the South?
Are any of these teams? Maybe the Colts, if they get back to where they were, where their offense looked like a juggernaut. If that's gone now, like if that was just a run, and actually that's really not what they are, then I don't know that any of these teams are.
I would choose the Texans out of this group. I
gave
up on the Texans early.
Yeah,
and now they're hot.
They are.
And we'll see what happens with Kansas City. Maybe that changes a lot, but if it's a really competitive game, maybe it doesn't.
And you're a prisoner of the moment, so you're going with them.
No, this is a prisoner. This is Pryor's meat, the moment. This is my coming into the season. I believed in the Texans. They let me down the first 6 or 7 weeks of the year. Now they're hot in the defense. Like this is one of those years where the Texans and Broncos defense could carry them through.
Yeah, my problem is there are too many teams that I don't think their offensive line can survive against. Now, admittedly, not that many of them are in the AFC, so they could go on a run. I just don't know that this team can get past a team that brings a legitimate defensive line to the table.
They've been better. They've made some adjustments. I think Stroud is also capable of putting together stretches of really good play. We haven't seen that consistency from him for a while, but Stroud's capable, and the defense is potentially special, as we expected.
Like, for example, the best 3 defensive lines they've played this season are all teams that are likely to be in the playoffs, albeit 2 of them in the other conference, and they've lost to all of them. Now, they've all been reasonably close games, low scoring, but I don't know that they, like, if they met one of those teams again in the playoffs, even if it's the Super Bowl, I don't think they win the game.
Of these 3 teams, though, Jags, Colts, and Texans, and that's fair. I mean, listen, what I'm saying is going to happen across all media here is everyone's going to, do you really trust the Texans? Do you really trust the Patriots in their schedule? Do you really trust Bo Nix and the Broncos? And everybody's going to say, nobody's good, and we're all going to be right. We're all going to be right. If you just went out and said, nobody's good, you'll be right, because 31 teams will not win the Super Bowl. So it's a safe play. That the Texans are, the O-line's going to catch up, and the Patriots' schedule is going to catch up, and the Bills' turnovers are going to catch up, and the Chiefs can't get off the field on 3rd down. It's all going to catch up to you, and you're going to be right if all you do is highlight all of the negatives and say this team won't win a Super Bowl. You're going to be right, except for one team, right? You're going to be right.
Yeah.
I'm just saying the Colts are the team I trust the most because of that defense and what the offense is. The Texans. What did I say?
Colts.
Yeah, the Texans I trust the most. I don't trust the Colts as much, despite how good they looked early in the year. And I don't think the Jags have anything particularly special about them.
No.
They're just feisty and competitive. The Texans have a special defense.
I don't trust the Jags at all. I think that the Texans' defense can take them a long way. I just don't think it can take them past at least one team they're going to have to get past at some point. So they might be a surprise team that goes on a run and causes some chaos, but I just don't see a world where they win an actual Super Bowl. They could win. I think they could almost get right up to it.
Yeah.
I just don't think they can win it. The Colts, I think, could, but only if the offense gets back to looking like the juggernaut that it was earlier in the season. If Daniel Jones is turned back into a pumpkin, if if they've just been found out a little bit by teams, as happens over the course of a season, if that's just not a ceiling anymore, then they can't.
Yeah. And my thing with Jones is I don't think it's going to be this clear cut, like he just reverts back and is horrible. Like he had a good game last week against a tough Houston defense.
Don't forget the fractured fibula.
And he's got a fractured fibula, but I don't trust him week to week. Just don't. I think there's a lot of pressure on them scheming it up for him versus other teams. AFC West, contenders, pretenders, Broncos, Chargers, and Chiefs. Who are the contenders out of this group in the West?
Broncos, yes. Chargers, no. Chiefs, yes.
Chiefs by default.
Right. If they make it, obviously.
Obviously, if they make it, yes.
Denver's defense, Denver's a version of, to me, like the Texans to you, except I think their offense is capable of more because they're not as vulnerable to meeting a good pass rush and just being screwed. So
they're
I think
vulnerable with Bo Nix's consistency.
They're just inconsistent. You don't trust them in any given week, but the defense is so good they can carry them. The Chargers, I feel, have a ceiling because of their offensive line. It's similar to the Texans, except without the completely suffocating defense. And then the Chiefs might not even make the playoffs, but if they do, they can beat anybody because they're the Chiefs.
Yeah, same answers as you. I've got the Broncos and Chiefs as contenders. I think the Chargers, we're going to learn a lot about them in the next few weeks. They've got the Eagles, the Chiefs. They got the Broncos again. I mean,
Herbert has finally suffered the injury that I've been warning about for the last 10 weeks, and that Chargers fans mad at me every week about. Like, now we're seeing it, so let's see what happens. He's got a broken hand.
And it might not. I mean, I think he's going to have to play superhuman ball.
Yeah.
Or they really get that run game going.
And that's the problem.
They have a good defense. I don't think it's a great defense. They have a good
They need Herbert to be phenomenal, and anything short of 100% healthy Herbert might not be capable of that.
So, yeah, that's where I don't trust the Chargers. The Chiefs, like, I'm not playing this game again. Yes, if they get in, and by the way, they play the Raiders and Titans in 2 out of their last 5 games. They should have 2 easy wins there.
The Chiefs currently have according to NFL.com, have a 36% chance of making the playoffs. So that's not good.
But that goes up to
50. If they win the game, it's a coin flip. If they lose the game, it's 11%.
11.
They're basically toast.
So it's all this week, Chiefs and Texans. And again, I think pull out all the stops if you're the Texans. The AFC, you're rooting for the Texans here to knock the Chiefs out.
Yeah,
but if the Chiefs get into the playoffs, we've seen them cover their flaws in the playoffs.
The Texans almost make the playoffs with a win against the Chiefs. Their playoff probability goes all the way up to 83% if they win this week, and it only drops to 45% if they don't. So, like, it's not a huge game for the Texans in terms of risk if they don't win it. It's a shot to nothing. If they win, they basically seal a playoff spot almost, and they kind of knock the Chiefs out of the playoffs, which is huge for multiple reasons. But for the Chiefs, it's your season needs to stay alive with this game.
Yeah, so this week's massive, but obviously I'm with you. Like, same thing. If the Chiefs get into the playoffs, we've seen Mahomes do his thing. We've seen Andy Reid do his thing. We've seen Spags, make unbelievable key stops in key situations. We've seen them do it before.
And
we've also sat here in December saying, I don't know if this is the Chiefs' year, and they just go on the run, and it's fine.
I don't even think this is a case of, like, we're just relying on priors with Kansas City. It's not even like because we've seen Andy Reid and Mahomes do their thing, that means that it must be in there somewhere. I don't think they're even playing as bad as the record is.
Agreed.
Like, it's this current version of the Chiefs is capable of this, not even just the theoretical Chiefs.
Yeah. They weren't as good as 15-1 with Mahomes last year.
Yeah.
They're not as bad as 6-6 this year. They're a contender. And I think the Broncos are a contender as well. I think there is, for whatever there is in the Bo Nix discourse and discussion, he's had some really key games against Kansas City the last 2 years. Not the Week 18 game, but the first game last year and the first game this year. We've seen him, even in the playoff game against Buffalo last year, Bo Nix played pretty well. Good end of the half drive. Like, he played pretty well. Like, he's capable of those games. And I think there's this, like, Sean Payton, I think his play calling is a thing.
Yeah.
He can make the big time play calls, and just like he did in Washington in overtime. What?
No, the Mohal in the chat thinks that Taylor Swift is Yoko Ono, so this is the Chiefs' last shot.
It's the last shot. So Broncos and Chiefs were contenders. I will not read that Andy Reid quote, whatever he said this week.
Derailing this podcast yet further, you were talking about what is my algorithm? What am I even doing with my life?
Oh, yeah, I'm curious.
I think what might be my single favorite video on the entire internet is, have you ever seen a clip of John Lennon and Chuck Berry playing, I think, is it Johnny B. Good he's playing? Or they're playing a song anyway on TV, right? And somehow Yoko Ono has talked her way into being like part of the band, right? And randomly during the course of this song just starts like screaming throat noises into the microphone or whatever, right? And there's a clip, like the flash of Chuck Berry hearing this and realizing what it is like he's just guitar and singing, and then he's like, eyes go wide, and he's like, what in God's name is that? And then apparently somebody cuts her microphone, like a sound tech or whatever is like, this is the worst thing to ever happen in the world. I'm not on my watch, and her sound stops happening. It's the most amazing video in the world. Like, it's phenomenal.
And because you watch that, now you get fed Creed.
I don't get fed Creed that much.
You get fed, this is how old we are, reminders all the time as well. Did you know that we're closer to 2075 than we are to World War II
I
or
hate
whatever?
those so much.
Did you know that the year 2100 is closer than Vietnam?
Those are bad.
Nam.
Yeah, those are bad. And the ones of, you are now older than this old man from this movie, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Those are bad as well.
And like, remember when you were watching Three's Company and you thought that looked really old? Well,
like,
Friends is 10 years older than that.
We're basically older than everybody from City Slickers, who are all having like midlife crises because that's why they go off to the West, and, nightmare.
It's a terrible corner of the internet, really.
I would urge people to check out that Yoko Ono Chuck Berry video.
Check it out.
It's absolutely incredible.
All right, let's go to the NFC. Contenders and pretenders. NFC East, the two contenders, potential contenders, Eagles and Cowboys. Who are contenders and pretenders in the East?
The Eagles still are, even though they're wobbling significantly, I think.
What a crazy team they are.
Yeah.
It is. I don't think we overplayed the story from 2023. And the number of, when we mentioned it a lot. What's happening in the chat here?
Serio's found the screenshot of Chuck Berry's wide eyes.
Oh, where is this? Now I have to stop and look. It's stalling.
It's pretty impressive.
Oh, where did he put it? In the chat? In the big chat?
Yeah.
It's bad broadcasting here.
Bad radio.
Anyway, I'll look at it in a minute. The fact that the Eagles were 10-1 in 2023, and they beat the Chiefs and the Bills. They beat all these good teams.
Yeah.
And then collapsed.
Yes.
And when they went 10-1, if you're a fan of a team that's winning all the close games, you're like, who cares? We're just winning. The argument against would be the Eagles team that won all the close games. But it was kind of different, too. It wasn't that they just stopped losing close games. It's like they legitimately had no rhythm on offense, had no idea how to, answer a blitz.
Yeah, everything
and
fell
the
apart.
Defense fell apart.
Right.
It looked like they were playing with 10 guys on the field at all times.
And everything they tried to change, like they made coaching changes, everything they tried to change only made it worse.
Did they bring in Patricia that year?
Yeah.
Who doesn't even run that scheme.
Right.
Anyway.
It's like, that'll fix it.
So there's a lot of crazy stuff going on in 2023. So then last year, they looked just as dominant, and we're just always like, oh, let's just wait, make sure there's no collapse. But it felt different last year, didn't it? It was like they're winning different ways. They're like Saquon Barkley's doing his thing, and the pass game was good, and you see Fangio and the defense coming together, and it felt like they made the right coordinator moves. But now I don't trust that offense, man. I don't trust that offense to put together a full game. Are they capable talent-wise? Yes. Is the offensive line a hit? I mean, like taking a hit from where it's been? Sure. But they're still good talent-wise.
Yeah.
They haven't put together a full game yet.
This is one, though, where this is one where it is the prior version that I'm leaning on, the way we just said it isn't with the Chiefs. Because this group effectively has done this before and then actually clicked into gear, it's at least obviously possible. Now, it's also possible that it never happens and they spiral out of control the way they did in 2023. But because I know it's possible that they click into gear and they just put it together for a while, I think they have to stay contenders.
I'm with you. I think we see the game through similar eyes in a lot of ways. So I'm not ready to write them off.
Right.
But I'm in between their collapsing in 2023
yeah.
and they are the best team in the league in 2024, which became more obvious as the year went on.
Yeah.
This year, it's becoming less obvious that they're
remember,
among the best in the NFC.
They're only a couple of weeks, removed from beating Green Bay, from beating Detroit. Like, they've beaten some good teams recently. It's just that the last two have been, losses to Dallas and then.
And those don't feel, and we're guilty of this too. Those were ugly defensive wins, right? 10-7, and they.
But that's like
dominated Detroit.
That's how good they can be, right?
I agree.
They can beat contending teams.
But now, here's the similarity to 23 is when remember they added Kevin Byard in the secondary, and he looked cooked because he's always in and around these coverage busts. Now he's great for Chicago. They just new things popped up in that collapse. The new thing that's popped up for Philadelphia is them giving up 280
defense.
on the ground when they shouldn't, right? When they have the defensive tackles and the linebackers to stop the run.
I mean, I'm willing to put
that's what I'm keeping an eye on.
I'm willing to put that down to a bad day at the office until I see it happen again.
Or good for the Bears. Cowboys. Contender, pretender.
I'm going to lean on pretender for the moment. The offense is very, very good. The defense is definitely improving. I still don't know if they're good enough overall to go on that run. And also, by the way, because it's Dallas, you also have to add in the fact that once they get to the playoffs, they're going to Dallas it.
That's the thing, because even in their best seasons, they still had this playoff hump that they couldn't get over, and it looks different in the playoffs.
Yeah. And it isn't just a playoff hump where it's like the Bills, right, where they can play well and they just 13 seconds, right? They just run out in the crappy end of like a razor-thin margin. Dallas gets to the playoffs, and they're like, we've never played football before. Like, it's unbelievable what happens to them.
But could Shouty be the difference here?
Maybe.
Different attitude, different style. He's more aggressive. He's not going to turtle up.
Mentality monster, Brian Schottenheimer.
Like, if you were stacking Cowboys teams over the last 5 or 6 years, I don't think you'd put this in the top 2 or 3.
Right.
They've had some excellent teams, but this might be the team that they need.
I think they are more of a team that maybe scare you for somebody in the playoffs, but I don't think they can really go on that.
You don't want to play the Cowboys.
You don't want to play the Cowboys, but I don't think they can do that 4 times in a row.
All right, I'll lean. I'm calling them a contender.
They're also, by the way, if nothing else, they only have a 38% chance of making the playoffs, even if they win this week.
They're
so,
the Chiefs.
Aside from anything else, they're fairly unlikely to even make the dance, let alone go on a run
the
once they
Chiefs,
get
don't
there.
let them in. Don't let them in. Don't let the Cowboys in.
But the Chiefs have a better shot of making it right now than the Cowboys do.
NFC North: Bears, Packers, and Lions. Contenders and pretenders.
Bears, Packers, Lions. Packers, contenders.
Agreed.
The Lions are tough because they're kind of like the Chiefs, where I think if they make it, they're capable. But they're getting less and less likely to make it at all. And then the Bears, I mean, I guess you have to call them contenders at this point.
They have to be, right?
It's hard to say they're not, because their defense has shown the ability to do really well. Their run game just hung 250 on somebody, and Caleb Williams is capable of spectacular plays, and they have a good receiving core around him, even if it's inconsistent. And Ben Johnson is a very good play caller, I think is a good coach, and has a deep bag of tricks, which presumably can be useful at some point. Are they consistent? No. Can you write them off as contenders because of that? I don't think so.
All right, so let me start with this. I'm with you on the Packers. I think the Packers have the high-end ability on both sides of the ball. Jordan Love just played MVP ball against the Lions in a big game. He can make the special downfield throws. Those are field-flipping, game-changing plays. He has those in the bag, and he has played really well this year. Mm-hmm. Highly efficient offense. Overall, with some duds in there, right, as an offense. And the defense has the high-end ability as well. Micah Parsons has been a game-changer there. So definitely contenders. The Lions, I think the injuries have caught up. But that's my concern. The offensive line, the injuries. Now, in a one-week setting, can Jahmyr Gibbs take over? Can the offense still function at a high level? Yes. But the old Lions would have 5 or 6 straight awesome weeks offensively and maybe a dud in there. It's been too up and down offensively. And then same thing defensively. I just think the injuries have caught up in the secondary and everything with Detroit. So I hate to say it because I love the Lions and I love Love you, Lions fans. I'm going to put them in the pretender category.
I think they're vulnerable, but
they were my Super Bowl pick. Like, so if they went on a run again, this doesn't mean 0%.
So that's the thing.
Nah, they're still contenders.
I think they are one of those teams that's absolutely capable. Like, they're like Buffalo to me, where it's like, sure, it's not what we thought it might be, and now unlike Buffalo, they're actually in danger of not making it at all. But if they went on that run in the playoffs, would it shock you at all? No. I think, to me, they remain contenders.
All right, keep them.
Write them off if you want.
I will now. I would never. I'm not writing off Dan and the Lions. All right, Lions are still contenders. They're all contenders. The Bears thing, I think it flipped for me with the Eagles game.
Yeah.
Now, look, do I really think they're going to go make
win.
I don't think they're going to go make a Super Bowl run. I think if we're being honest about the Bears fans should be incredibly optimistic about
next year.
Ben Johnson, the youth movement, the pass catchers, the way the defense, I would say, has overachieved despite so many injuries on the back end, despite maybe an uneven pass rush. But they are the team, much like the Commanders last year, where if you just look at the underlying metrics, it doesn't add up to a 9-3 record, right? And I know you are what your record is, great. But best turnover margin in the league, tough to sustain, and all of the one-score games, tough to sustain.
I'm not saying this is likely, that they're the number one seed right now, but given their schedule, it wouldn't be crazy if they won one of their remaining 5 games. Like, they could be a 10.
The Packers twice.
Yeah. Detroit.
Lions again.
Yeah, the Lions and the 49ers. And then the Browns, who have even the Browns have a defense that can really get after you. So, like, I'm not saying this is likely, but if this team ended the season with 10 wins, it wouldn't be crazy based off the results that they have, based off the schedule that they have right now. So it's like, they're probably somewhere between that, right? They're probably not. I don't think this is like the Giants from a few years ago where they were clearly a fraudulent football team based off their record, and then they really stamped the fraudulent tag when they beat Minnesota in the playoffs. And then the Giants got lost the run of themselves and handed Daniel Jones a contract and locked up Saquon. They're like, it's our time. That was a fraudulent football team. I don't think this Chicago team is. I also don't think it's the best team in the NFC.
Yeah. So I'd say the two things that are true about the Bears, and I'll throw them in the contender category because they just beat up on the Eagles in a different style, in a different way. Not even different style, but the run game has been festering, right? For Chicago. This Ben Johnson run game where they showed this toughness and power. Like, they've shown that at points, and they showed it now against a good team. I think the two things that are true is Caleb Williams will still get better.
Yeah.
With Ben Johnson, who's doing a good job from a play calling perspective, and the stuff that's going to regress will regress. So those could cancel each other out. Either way, you're in a good spot, I think, if you're the Bears moving forward.
And the flip side of what I said with their record, though, is if they go out and beat 4 of those teams, now you're looking at them very differently. Like, the thing about this record,
split with the Packers.
Yeah, like they've got they're on a run of 9 wins and 1 loss in the last 10 games. Only really one of those wins is against what you would say is a cast iron good football team, Philadelphia, right? Yeah. And even Philadelphia, we're saying like they're wobbling. Like, so if that's if that's what you're dealing with, that changes if they beat Green Bay once or twice, San Francisco, Detroit. Suddenly then you're saying, okay, this team has now beaten several good football teams in the last few weeks and is on this run of, X wins and Y games. Like, that would change how you view them, I think.
So we're going to go contenders across the board here. Bears, Packers, Lions. The North is
I think so.
NFC South, Bucs and Panthers. I know what you're saying for the Panthers.
I don't think either of them are contenders. With the caveat that I don't have any idea what the Panthers are.
Yeah, the Panthers are too tough to trust week to week. Impressive that they've gotten to 7-6. Impressive that they've done it by beating the Rams and beating the Packers, and at points when essentially their playoff hopes could have been derailed at any point in the last month and a half, and they just showed up and upset the Packers and upset the Rams and kept themselves alive. And they've got the Saints coming off a bye in a couple weeks here, so they could be sitting there at 8-6. But I'd say pretenders for the Panthers. I'm sorry, doctor. Bucs. If you asked me 5 weeks ago, it's probably different.
Yeah, I just don't think they're good enough. Now, look, they if they get receivers back and they get a completely healthy, maybe, but I feel like they're kind of where they have been for the last couple of years, which is good, not great.
Yeah. And I thought they had a chance to be a good to great. I thought they had a chance to jump up into the top tier of the NFC this year.
And that was the task,
and early on, they weren't. They were showing it in wins and losses, but they're doing it with all those injuries on the offensive line, at receiver.
And it's not like they haven't beaten very good teams this year. Like they won against Seattle, they won against San Francisco. But they've lost to Detroit, they've lost to Philadelphia, they've lost to Buffalo, and that one was, I think, more conclusive than they lost to the Rams. Like it's not, the balance of wins versus losses against good teams. The loss to the Patriots is starting to look like when they face good teams, they're going to lose those games more often than not.
And then add to this, we had our little Jackson Dart diatribe or whatever. Like you could have that same conversation with Baker Mayfield, who hates sliding and always is run. All of the special stuff that he did early in the season, scrambling and lowering his shoulder and picking up first downs, started to get banged up even before the shoulder injury in the Rams game. He was already banged up. And if you want to have that as like the line where this offense started to become far less consistent, the passing attack was not nearly as good. Was it when he got banged up? Was it the injuries? Was it a combination of those things? That's a factor, though. And even Baker Mayfield, his durability and ability to just stay consistent week to week.
And even if that shoulder injury didn't affect him last week, he's only ever one hit away now from that becoming a problem that exacerbates over the season, and maybe he needs to. It's going to take the offseason for him to get healthy again.
So I'm with you on, let's say, pretenders on both NFC South teams, and then wrap it up with the NFC West. Rams, Seahawks, and Niners. All teams have 9 wins. Niners are 9-4. Rams and Seahawks 9-3.
I think the Rams and the Seahawks are contenders. I think the 49ers are not.
I'm with you as well. They keep winning.
Yeah.
Proving us wrong to a point, right? And stitching it together defensively. When you watch the Rams and Seahawks play and the way they affect opposing offenses with their front four or just their blitz packages or just all of the disruption that they create, the Niners are nowhere near that world, and that's my biggest concern.
They now have a 92% chance of making the playoffs according to NFL.com. So they're probably going to be a playoff team. I just think that defense is a limiting factor to the run they can go on. I don't think that they can live with the best teams in the NFL, that they're going to have to play in the playoffs because their best players on defense have gotten injured and they didn't have great talent outside of those best players.
And then as far as the Rams and Seahawks, again, they had that great game a couple weeks ago. They've got a big Thursday night game coming up in a few weeks here. Rams have championship caliber defense, what they're capable of doing on that side of the ball. Seahawks have the same as far as their defense goes. Rams have high-end potential with their offense, their pass game, and run game. Seahawks' run game isn't very good, but they've created explosives in the pass game. That might be a little fragile. That's what we saw last week with Minnesota. If you don't have the JSN explosives down the field, and it sounds simple, like, just take out JSN. It's not that simple. But are they too fragile offensively? I don't know, but they're good enough, I think, offensively. Darnold's playing really well overall this year, and the defense looks great. So I think the defense, I'll say this about this season, Sam. Rams, Seahawks, what we said in the AFC, Texans, Broncos, I feel better about defense-first teams those 4 teams have this championship caliber defense. And even though the Rams offense is great and the Seahawks offense has been very good, like I feel better about defensively minded teams versus in the past where it's like it'll just be Allen and Mahomes, it'll just be the best offenses. I think a defensive minded team can go on a run this year more than ever. Or the first time since like the 2015 Broncos, we'll say.
I will say a potential concern with the Seahawks and Darnold is, number one, the Rams, and they may have to get past them again in the playoffs. But generally, we've had a couple of relatively rough games from Darnold recently, and they're against teams that have good defenses. So if that is a thing, and these defensive first teams are more potent this year than they've been in the past, Darnold's going to run into those in the playoffs, and maybe that's when he is not able to do what he's been doing earlier in this season and last year.
I think just generally you don't have this clear, here are the top 5 quarterbacks in the league, and they're all the best teams.
Right.
You don't have that as much this year.
No, now it's like some teams have got the quarterback, some teams have got the defense, some teams have got a little bit of everything. Like it's very. I think that's why it feels so open this year. Is that there's nobody that looks like a complete and total football team, but everybody that's got like one really important element of a complete and total football team. Like the Rams would be the team that you're like, they're the closest to just being complete elite across the board, and they just lost to Carolina.
And they did. But like, I don't think you come out of that. You're allowed to keep the Rams atop your power rankings.
Sure.
Right after a loss. Like, you're allowed to do that. You're allowed to say they lost to the Panthers. Absolutely true. They turned it over 3 times. Absolutely true. You're also allowed to say that's still the best team in the league.
Yeah.
Like, that one game's not changing my mind. And I think that's fair for the Rams. They've got the best combination of QB that you can win with, pass game, run game, defense. I think they've got the best combo. All right, man. That was fun. Contenders, pretenders. That's going to be it for us here today. Other than if you did sign up for a membership today, you stick around. We'll do a little extra 10 minutes or so, a little Q&A, hang out with the members. For everyone else, don't forget, if you want to sign up, tomorrow night we'll be going live for Cowboys-Lions. We're going to be live, sitting on the couch, hanging out, watching the game. So watch along. We'll do 30 minutes, open to everyone, and then it'll be members only as we go and watch the Amazon Prime game, Cowboys-Lions. And tomorrow's our preview show, 9 a.m. We'll be going game by game. It's not a full slate. We got more buys. Last bye week, Sam. Last easy week for us from a work perspective. Got some buys this week, but we'll be previewing all of the Week 14 action tomorrow morning at 9 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Sound good? All right, thanks to everybody for tuning in. We'll stick around here about 10 minutes with our members. If you can't stick around, we'll see you tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., Week 14 preview. All right, did we just transition here?
We're going to... One-minute countdown now, so we just have to fill time until it swats over to the members only thing.
Oh, so 1 minute countdown.
Yeah, that feels like a system that's not ideal.
Is the restroom working again here?
No, God, no. Not for.
Do you think for our open house, soft opening tomorrow?
One of many soft openings?
Yeah.
No, I don't think. I believe that the bathrooms will remain out of commission for the soft opening, which is unfortunate. Yeah.
It's inconvenient going down to the 6th floor.
It is. It seems that there's the expectation